learn a lot this week here. Going to learn from what we saw the other day at the joint practice. And also on Thursday night a little bit. We're going to kind of tie that in. We appreciate each and every single one of you coming aboard with us. Thank you guys so much. Please hit the like button. Guys, I tell you this all the time. There's so many options out there for you guys to choose from. And for you to come here every single Monday through Friday, I can't thank you enough. You guys have grown the show. By the way, these last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, what have you, you're blowing this bad puppy up here, man. You're absolutely killing it. And I swear to you, thank you. It means a lot. Look, we get contentious back and forth, and I know we do. But I think that's one of the beauties of the program. But as we always start the program off, we put the signature Big Sills. Big Sills. We got to start it off always with that. You guys absolutely are awesome, and I can't thank you, like I said, enough. We're going to do something special today, by the way. We're going to put Butch Davis on at 4:30, the owner of 3 Super Bowl rings and a national championship ring. Vic Fangio and him are very good friends, and we're going to talk a little bit about what to look for this year, a little bit about Butch and looking at talent, what he thinks of Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. Let me ask you something here about this guy. Here's the man that recruited Jerome Brown. Here's the man that recruited Cortez Kennedy, Russell Maryland, Warren Sapp, Ed Reed, Sean Taylor, Ray Lewis, Jonathan Vilma, John Beeson, Reggie Wayne, Willis McGahee, Frank Gore, Andrew and James, Bryant McKinney. You think he knows anything about talent? That guy knows talent. He is arguably one of the greatest recruiters in the history of college football. Most of the guys Devin Hester, he recruited. Get this, the 2 guys that went into the Pro Football Hall of Fame last weekend were Butch Davis guys. I mean, how about this? This guy recruited to one team, Sean Taylor, Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, Jonathan Vilma, Vince Wilfork. All those guys Butch recruited. For the record, he also brought in Jeff Stoutland. Jeff Stoutland is a Butch Davis guy. Okay? He's a Butch guy. How's that for you? Ed Ogeron, a Butch Davis guy. I mean, this guy knows talent. We'll talk to him about your talent. We'll talk to him what to look for this coming year. That'll be at 4:30. And he was my coach, obviously, at the University of Miami, where Jerome and I played for him. And some of the great stories that he has about us, too. I'm not sure what he's going to say, but I can only imagine. I don't know what the number is, but I think Butch Davis is recruited and put in the NFL over 70 defensive linemen, linebackers, DBs, receivers. God, it's endless, the amount of talent that he's put in the NFL. Be hard to find another coach in the last 30 years that has put more Hall of Famers into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Okay? Eduardo goes, Sills, I bet you still call him coach. Absolutely. Guy saved my life. He saved my life. As many others at Miami. He saved my life. Dude, I was either going to be in the Army or prison or dead. My life wasn't going in a great place. Butch saved my life. Absolutely, I still call him coach. Okay? Sills, is your Patriot source Alonzo Highsmith? No comment, Kyle. No comment. By the way, I'm listening to my boy Xander. By the way, Xander will be on, I think, a little bit later, like at around 5 o'clock after Butch. They were talking about how great the Eagles did in their joint practice. By the way, I concur and I confirm they did. Tube says, Big Sills, if Tanner McKee can go in for Jalen during the playoffs and win a championship, would you move on from Jalen like we did Carson? Tubes. History repeating itself like that one moment in time for the Eagles, I find that hard to believe that you will have that duplicated again in the history of your franchise. That was one moment in pro football history I doubt ever gets repeated like that. Some dude just walks in, goes for 353 against the Vikings in the NFC title game, and it turns around and throws for 373, beats the GOAT, and you're going to get a Lombardi trophy? I find that hard to believe. I just find that hard to believe. Yeah, we're going to push, CD. We're going to push that interview with Mark Holmes and with Philly 500 to next week because I want to know what Butch Davis thinks of Vic Fangio and the talent that you guys have on your team. He'll give you a fair assessment. But Butch is a consultant to many franchises in the NFL. They ask him questions about a particular player. I asked him a question actually about Michael Parsons. It was interesting what he says. He goes, it depends on all what they're asking him to do. Remember, schemes dictate sometimes what players' abilities can give to that scheme. You just because you sign a guy doesn't mean that guy's skill set fits that scheme. And that's why you have failure when it comes to the draft. So Butch is going to straighten that out. He goes, hey, you may have a really good football player on your team. I asked him about Nakobe Dean. He goes, shocking he's not doing well. We'll ask him why. Okay? That will be again at 4:30. So we appreciate you guys and thank you guys again for coming here. Please hit the like button. Let's start this bad puppy off. I want to hear this because I'm a diehard Eagle fan, but I'm not confident in the defense. I'm glad, CJ, you brought us here. Okay? Are you feeling better about your football team, especially the defense? Hey, let's do this. Quite frankly, I don't really feel any different. Well, I do feel different about your offense. I'll explain here when we get to the topic page. But are you feeling any different about your defense now after the joint practice? Are you feeling any different? Personally, just so you know, I'll bury the lead here. I'm not. I'm not feeling any different. Okay? The Patriots have absolutely one of the bottom 3 rosters in all the NFL. So if you have a good day against them, welcome to the NFL. You should. You're a better team. You're a better roster. I mean, now again, the young guys playing as well as they are, that's a good thing against any NFL competition. Okay? Hey, this is a good one. And that's kind of, I think we're on the same page here, Jay Brown. You guys are feeling better about Trotter Jr. I'm feeling better about the younger guys myself. Big picking. This is a great take. You guys are on your A game today. I do. The more reps, the better. Excellent point. Excellent point, no matter what the competition is, right? What you're saying, Pickin? Sills, even if the competition is not up to snuff where we're thinking they're a good football team, still getting quality football reps. You're right. You're right. Okay? But don't you think you're going to get more out of the quality reps on Thursday than what you did in the joint practice? Remember, that's a controlled environment. It's a homogenized pseudo type of game. You know, I heard John McMullen this morning, and love John. By the way, you know I do. Raving about the pass rush showing up in a controlled environment. It's like a formaldehyde jar. Or it's like a Petri dish. Everything's perfect in a Petri dish. Get out in the game. Let's see it in a game. Hey, if they duplicate that on Thursday night, by the way, I'm not expecting the offensive guys, but I'm expecting the defensive guys to go out and play on Thursday. Okay? I mean, Let's put everything in context here. That's a formaldehyde jar. A controlled joint practice is nothing that duplicates anything in a game. It's a glorified 9-on-7. The stuff you see in quality reps you get are the exhibition games. Now, look, do I think the Eagle offense needs reps? Maybe some. Not crazy numbers. That's an elite skill set offense. And they probably get a lot out of the controlled environment. I don't want A.J. Brown getting hit in an exhibition game. I'd rather have him going in the joint practice, because why? I'd rather take a little bit of a lesser quality rep than going into a preseason game where a guy makes a cut and he gets knocked out and all of a sudden he's got a concussion. He misses the first 4 weeks of the season. That's not what I'm looking for. Okay? That's not what I'm looking for here, especially with him. Sills, I think the coaches will get more on Thursday. Correct. Correct, Bob. Okay, correct. They will get to see how the players react to the coaching during the game. That's another key thing. Because look, remember something, Bob. That's a great take, Bob. Bob, remember something. When you're in a controlled joint practice, you get to stop and coach. And you get to coach a technique. When you're in a game, there's no coaching. You have to wait till the next day or the day after to coach. There's no coaching. There's no time for coaching. You're not going to point out a technique sitting on the sidelines with a guy. That's not going to work. That's not the time for coach. You don't coach on game day. Nobody coaches with any quality on game day if you have a good team. You're talking about adjusting and adjustments on game day. So when you're talking about, well, a joint practice, you get to stop practice and you get to coach. It's a controlled environment. I'm not saying they're not quality reps. They are quality reps because you're going full speed, but you're not really tackling. You're not hitting the quarterback. Okay? It's a little different. By the way, I'm not suggesting to you that the Eagles did not do a great job against the Patriots on Tuesday. I am not saying that. I'm saying this is what you are preparing for, because to me, I'm still not sold, or not even remotely close to being sold on your defense. I still think you're going to have many issues. Your linebackers can't cover. There is a gaping hole in the middle of your defense. And when you play Jordan Love, he's going to exploit that. Okay? Murder, what's up, brother? Okay. Hey, what's up, man? You piss me off every day, but I keep coming back. The constant reality check. Murder Arb. Hey, man, I appreciate. Actually, this is my kind of faith. This is my type of viewer right here. Is this stuff right here? Great stuff, man. Is there any benefit for these guys other than just running through a play? No. Hey, I'm not telling you that those joint practices are not quality reps. They are quality reps. Can't be sold till the season starts. Jesus criminy, I can't believe JB and I are on. Hey, 2 comments by JB. We're already here. Wow. Hey, JB, I think the show's going to suck the rest of the day. It's only been 16 minutes and JB and I are kind of agreeing on something. Okay? I'm not here. Hey, Ruiz, how you doing, brother? Appreciate it. What is the organization? Okay, what is with this organization and being able to find good cover linebackers? I think it's a shit philosophy, and I think it's a shit evaluation that they do when it comes to the position. I actually think Vic Fangio's scheme is flawed also at the linebacker position. I think the scheme is flawed, and I think the philosophy of the importance of the position is flawed. I think the entire organization doesn't take that position serious. Just like I don't think they take wide receiver 3 serious. Just at times, I think they don't take backup tight end serious. You can see where the positions on the team they don't give a shit about. They don't give a shit about linebackers. They truly this is the first year they gave a shit about running backs by getting Barkley in the building. Okay? This is the first time they've really addressed it with a quality guy. Dan, where did the Dallas D finish in rankings last year? We better be better than that because Love killed it. He did. I didn't think they were that bad last year. But against the run, I thought they were awful. Hey, think about this, Swift, Charlie. The Bills ran 14 passes in that game in Buffalo. They had 14 passes, and they beat the shit out of them with only 14 passes. It was like a 1960s offensive attack. The Riding the Bench Eagle podcast. Remember when he was in Chicago, San Francisco? He had elite linebackers. You need studs for this scheme to shut down. Yeah, to be a shutdown defense. He's right. I'll tell you. But remember what they also had. Eagles bench. Remember what they had though. Okay, when he was there, they had either John Lynch or they had Trent Baalke, and those guys were pretty good at putting talented people in the organization, and they value linebackers. The San Francisco 49ers have always valued defense. They won those championships with Montana and Steve Young. They also had some of the best defenses of the era during that time. You know, everybody always looked at Rice and Montana and Craig and those guys. You know, what about Lott and Michael Carter and all them dudes that Keena Turner? All those guys that played on those teams were fantastic. Charles Haley was on those football teams. Who they got after the passer? I mean, Kevin Fagan, bunch of those guys played on those great elite defensive football teams, and they were great. They had great defensive football teams. 2022 was short to moderate in yard plays majority of the time, and we fucking crushed the defense with that scheme. They thought they could do that again. By the way, do we have a crazy topic here coming up here? And I think this kind of is something that kind of still concerns me a little bit. Listen what Akbar says. Why is this philosophy why is it flawed? Who gives a shit about third wide receiver when we have two tight ends? You don't have two tight ends. You don't have two tight ends. Calcaterra has not proven that he could stay healthy. You don't have two fucking tight ends. That's a theory, Akbar. Who gives a shit about three wide receivers? Well, that means I really don't have to put anybody on them, and I could double up someone, tight end or back, and I don't have to worry about wide receiver 3. You only had 35 catches anyway from it. Great. You're playing 10 against 11. That's why. You're trying to create mismatches and options. You're trying to keep a defense honest. The more you take away from your offense, the less, and it's easier for a defensive coordinator to put a scheme together against you. That's why. Whether you're getting production out of that or not, it's got to be competent and dependable that somebody could make a catch from there. So you have to defend it. Okay, so Akbar wants to go into a game 10 versus 11. That's his philosophy. 10 versus 11. We're good enough to beat you. No, you're not. No, you're not. Calcaterra's legit? How? Give me one thing that you say, Jason, that you think Calcaterra's legit. Where's he legit? Is that a theory? That's a theory, right? That he's legit. Because he has not proven one thing production-wise that he is. He has not proven one thing, Jason, that he's dependable, reliable, and productive. Where? Where has he proven that? Guy can't stay on the field either. I mean, you're talking theory, not reality. Got to hang in there. You're going to go, you'll eat crow. Okay, great. I haven't yet. How many years he been on the team? 3? I mean, in the time? God, how many years has Calcaterra been on the football team? 2? 3? How many years now has he been on the team? I don't really know because I don't really keep count of players that don't have impact. Okay? Tell me. How many years has he been on the team? I don't know. This is his 3rd year. Okay, well, I mean, isn't it time to be productive? So he's going into his 3rd year. Well, he has been not productive in 2 years so far. Well, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I saw the guy Laporte up in Detroit catch 77 footballs and was a force. I've seen a lot of tight ends that have come in the league that weren't first-round draft choices that have made impacts. This kid's made no impact so far. We'll see. Again, you're talking in theories. Thanks a lot, Mike. Appreciate that. Okay. Dan Sileo was at the Patriots practice and Trotter looked great. He was getting off the ball and knew his gaps. I wouldn't use the word great. I would use the word solid. And that's a good thing. A young player like that doing all the fundamental things that it takes. He's better than I thought. He surely is. He's better than I thought. I think you're going to get a little bit more from your defense and how you're going to be able to go forward because everybody's raving over the joint practice. I think you temper that. I'm not that excited over that. I'm expecting that. You have a better roster than the Patriots. Why wouldn't you think you're going to go in there and be the better team? Okay? I mean, again, they're quality reps for the young players. Guy like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, that's just another day at practice. That's just another day at practice. Okay? Bang, bang, Philadelphia. They'd be like, stop saying you look good. It's only joint practice. But then proceed to say that the Eagles' defense is flawed. It is flawed. How many starters ain't on the field along with the vanilla plays? You had your entire starters out there last game. And you had your starters out there too in the joint practice against the Patriots. You did not sit your defense against the Ravens. You sat your offense. They're flawed. They're flawed in experience. Hey, how about this one? How many people truly believe that Vic Fangio is going to play young players? How many people believe that? I don't. I think he's going to work them in. I think he's going to work them in. Angelo says this. The third wide receiver has to be able to keep his head in the game. You never know when the ball is coming to him. That's a skill in itself. Amen. Amen. Only if they're ready. Right, Kyle? Vic will put them in when they're ready. And I believe that. I believe that. Chuck, I believe what Kyle just said. I think they'll put him in. I think they're going to have to put him in. Okay? I think they're going to put him. I think they're going to have to put him in. All right. I want to read this to you here. And again, guys, Jason Kelce went on a show today. And I want to ask you if you think all these issues have been resolved heading into the Thursday night exhibition game against the Patriots. And are you feeling better that 2023 and all the issues that you had on your team are behind you? Jason Kelce's words. And he's more open now, obviously, because he's now moving into the analyst role. And some would say, Sills, why is this important? Well, you don't want to repeat history. We see it all the time in teams. They constantly repeat their mistakes, and that's why they're in the constant shit bowl that never flushes. Okay? The Rob Medee podcast he was on, Jason Kelce, He said clearly the two coordinators of a year ago were a problem. Wow. First time I've heard a player that was on that team a year ago say that both coordinators, it was a problem. Said that the players didn't have the cohesiveness together that they had in 22. What could form that? Same guys. What would cause that? That the environment in the locker room was so dramatically changed that the players didn't have the same togetherness that they had in 22. That they 23 didn't have it that they had in 22. Offense. Check this out. If this doesn't show you the incompetence of the organization and how idiotic they were a year ago, this is a company thing. This isn't just a coaching thing. This is a company thing. Joe Kraus is here running the show today. Joe knows this is better as anybody as a company owner. Hey, man, you make one shitty hire, it destroy your entire company. You make two shitty hires, the thing's over. And here's what Jason Kelce said. Offense, we just went simple. Instead of trying to expand, we went simple. That's why you had Nick Bosa picking the plays out. Look how smart the NFL players are. They game plan you. They notice things. Every single NFL football team that you played last year knew exactly what you were doing from week 5 on because the Eagles got simpler on offense. Instead of Sirianni and Brian Johnson expanding the offense, this is according to Kelce, they got simpler. Now listen to this. This is Jason Kelce's words. The defense became more complex. You lost Javon Hargrave. You decided to use Hassan Reddick in a different role. You lost TJ Edwards, your quarterback, in the middle of the room. And you decided to go more complex by playing man coverage and by doing more exotic schemes that the players did not understand what was going on. You had one dynamic on one side of the ball where you were trying to be as simplistic as you could. It needed to be the reverse. The defense needed to be more simplistic. And the offense needed to expand. You've got $25, $30 million wide receivers on that side of the ball and a $50 million quarterback, and you're dumbing down the offense. What do you think? Hurts is an idiot? Or do you think that A.J. Brown is a fool? These guys can't pick. They were running high school plays last week or last year. High school plays. And you were coming up with these exotic Steve Spagnuolo defenses for a defense that had no idea what the fuck you were doing. I mean, it was totally counterproductive in what you did in 22. They panicked. Mike, I agree. Both coordinators were handicapped. Can I tell you how? The hiring of Matt Patricia handicapped Sean Desai, and Nick Sirianni handicapped Brian Johnson. You had too many roosters in the hen house at one time. This is what Kelce's saying. And I'll go back and say this. The coordinators just didn't fit. Shit, dude. As an organization, why did you go down that route? Guys, please hit the like button. We're a little bit behind there. 76? Appreciate you, man. Okay? I mean, insane. Players didn't play well. Get this one. Jason Kelce said, including himself. He goes, I did not play well my last 5 games of my career. I did not play well. Good for Jason Kelce, because he didn't. Cam Jurgens might actually be an upgrade in player. He actually might be an upgrade. Kelce, these are Kelce's words. Have all this been addressed? I think so. I do. I think so. I do. I'm going to say something here. Who said it? Brandon Graham said it. Brandon Graham said that Jalen Hurts looks like a new man, and that Kellen Moore is making him a smarter football player. And you can see one thing that's important. You know what that is? He's more comfortable this year than he's ever been since he's been a Philadelphia Eagle. Could it possibly be that he's been waiting for Jason Kelce to retire so that this could be his team? Clearly it was Kelce's team. Shit. Kelce had really the most important job on the offense, setting pass protection. He pretty much ran it. It's his team. Is it possible that with Kelce not being there, Hurts becomes more of a vocal leader, more of a guy who's in control of his offense more? Josh goes, that's a dumbass take. Jason Kelce said he played like shit the last 5 games. Hurts has looked great in camp. Really? Well, then you fucking tell me what happened. You tell me. He ran it good in 17. 17 in 2023? That's 6 years. That's 6 years. That's because little Nicky's an asshole. Marshall says, get this. This guy's bringing up 2016. I'm talking about 2023 with Kelce. Kelce, that's 6-year difference in age. What are you talking about, guy? Dude, he ran out of gas at the end of the year. He ran out of gas. He did not play well. He was giving sacks up, illegal procedure penalties. Go back and watch the film. He's right. He's right. That's a great take right there for, hey, how about this? Seals, do you think the Vikings will make a trade for a quarterback? Could be calling the Eagles right now for Kenny Pickett. Okay? Mr. International, I'm not saying anything glaring. I'm not saying I hated Jason or, all that. I'm not saying that. Okay? I'm not saying any of that. Who said Kelce was calling audibles? How could Kelce call audibles with his head down? Quarterback calls audibles. Offensive line, he may change the blocking scheme. He ain't changing audibles in the pass scheme. That ain't happening. Sales, Kelce's comments paint the picture that the players were suffering from analysis paralysis. It was in their heads. I find it strange he didn't talk about Nick, but called out coordinators. Because he's got to walk back in that building with the key fob. Okay? That to me, he's got that. He didn't bring up Nick at all because Nick, get this, and Nick oversaw it. What happened was Johnson had a simple offense that a third grade could figure out after 10 to 12 games. Look at how bad the play calling was in the red zone. Well, that's Sirianni too. That's not just him, JB. Again, look, I don't want to stay on that because we're in a new year here. Okay? How many people think that this is slanderous here? Kelsey was the cause of last year. I didn't say that. He's making that up. It was the fucking offense fell apart. Where was A.J. Brown the last 10 games of the season? He had 100-yard game. In the last 8 games, he had 100-yard game. Where was he? The offense couldn't score 10 points against the shitty Bucks. What are you talking about, guy? And nobody said it was the fault of Kelsey. Kelsey's saying this, guy. Jason Kelsey saying this. I'm asking you, don't you think now Jalen, according to Brandon Graham, feels a little more comfortable that this is now his team for the first time in 5 years? This is his team. There's nothing wrong with that. Nobody's saying that was all on Jason. Shit. Jason's telling you what happened. I would like to mention the Eagles had the hardest schedule, and that's an excuse. When you're as talented as them, hey, really, let me ask anybody this. The Eagle offense, who gives a shit if you have the hardest schedule or the easiest schedule? All comes down to whether you win a Super Bowl, not by how many games you win. Nobody cares at the end of the day how many games you win. They care you win the last game. If that number's 11, 12, 10, 13, nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. They care you win the final game of the year. That's right. WCB, that is clearly my point here. Sounds like Kelsey was just being brutally honest about himself, his play, everyone's play, the decisions to pick the coaches. Absolutely. Hey, by the way, WCB probably was being extra hard on himself. So you take that with a small grain of salt too. Kelsey's very introspective. Absolutely. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. If there's nothing more to the point of that in any NFL year, it's what Kyle just said right here. Guys, we appreciate the super chats too. You guys are killing it. Thank you. Absolutely. Here's Abe. Sills. So why are we so obsessed with how the Eagles are doing now than rather the playoffs? It all matters, Big Sills. It all matters. It does. But I'm saying to you, you're going to have bumps and bruises out of the gate here, man, with that defense. Don't get your panties in a bind. Let it mature. Dude, I knew last year after New England, I told everyone, and then you guys kept putting up 10-1. And I kept saying to you guys, that team's no 10-1 team. That team's playing like a 7-win team. By the end of the year, they were playing like a 7-win football team. And they looked at the end of the year, Kansas City was playing like a 14-win team. They only had 11 wins. They won as many games as you. Look at how Kansas City finished the season. Finished it strong. Every week it was a struggle to win in dominant fashion that in 22 they did nearly every week. Forrest, they just ran people over in 22. Get this, Forrest. That's about as simple. Forrest, think about this. They ran one of the most simplest offenses in pro football, the RPO. But what's so difficult about the RPO? It's the quarterback's decision-making. The quarterback decides throw, pass, hand off. Right? His decision-making was what was, dude, you could run, the Eagles in 22 could have ran 10 plays and still killed you. They could have told you where they were going and killed you. That's how good they are. Christopher, thank you. Sills, a lot of Eagle fans can't take perfection. I know week 8 we didn't look right, and it only got worse towards the end of the year. Dude, I promise you, Christopher, I swear to you, Christopher, I've got this card that Andy Robustelli gave me, that Lombardi gave him. and I have it in my office, and it says on there, and I've read this to most of you, and I should probably show it to you. Lombardi had it on a card that he used to hand out to people. We are going to do everything in our power to try for perfection each and every single day, knowing full well we'll never get there. But we're going to learn how to live with greatness. That's a mindset. Everything you do every day, everything you do, running to water, running to drills, game tempo, everything. The coach that's coming on here at 4:30, we practice game tempo, every freaking thing we ever did. So when we got into the game, games were easy. I never played in a game with Jimmy Johnson's coaching staff that Butch was on it that was harder than our practices. Ever. Ever. Never. That carried over to the pros where he won 3 Super Bowls and where he won a national championship. Think about what Butch's resume is. One of the most celebrated recruiters of all time. And on top of that, he's got 4 championship rings at both levels, college and pro. He was just recently ranked by the Cowboys the 3rd best defensive coordinator in Cowboy history, behind Ernie Stautner and Dave Wanstead, who also comes on this program. That's why we're bringing Butch on. He's one of the most elite D coordinators that's ever lived. Okay? That 2000, 2001, 2002 team that the Canes put together had 11 All-Pros on it and 6 Hall of Famers. I mean, couldn't run the RPO last year since Jalen Hurts. Remember what Wink Martindale said? JB, remember what Wink said? We knew they weren't going to be committed with running the quarterback. We knew what was coming. We knew exactly what was coming. Okay? Knew exactly. Let's get to the topic here. Move off that, because I do think they've rectified a lot of that. I do. Seals, that's because there was no one else good in the league during the time. Now there's players everywhere. Okay? Funny, they all landed in Dallas at that time. Seals, the most difficult part of the RPO is having the guts to put your quarterback in harm's way. Howie and Lurie caved. Hurts must change. Now he plays to earn money. He earned because of his play. I know. Remember, Boomer Esiason said something on this program. Jalen Hurts has got to learn to play with his contract. I didn't take that serious. Now I know what it means. Now I totally know what it means. He's got to learn to play with his contract. You know what that means to me? He's got to do what Mahomes does. Hey, man, when I got to pull out the danger cord and I got to pull out the danger game, I got to know when the danger game is. I can't just play a danger game week 3, week 6. I got to pick my time. Got to pick my time. Okay. Here's my take. By the way, we're going to do something else here in a minute here, but here's my take on why the Eagles struggle developing quarterbacks. It's going to kind of go down the line of what we were talking about a little bit with Kellen. So Kellen Moore is making Jalen Hurts a smarter player, according to Brandon Graham, just watching him in practice. The camp that he's having now is the best since he's been a pro. Why? Landmarks when it comes to motion, learning how to read defenses. He's a completely different. What did Darius Slay say? What was the comments? Here's Slay. Kellen Moore's just making Jalen smarter of a football player. You could see it every day. Kellen Moore's making Jalen Hurts a smarter football player every day. Be prepared, you're going to lose that. The more success Hurts has, the more success Kellen Moore has. You know, it's funny. You got people in Philly with this notion that they believe that Kellen Moore is just automatically just going to stay because whatever. If Jalen Hurts throws for 4,500 yards and wins the MVP, or you go to the NFC title game, he's going to be a head coach. He's going to be a head coach. He's going to get a shot at being a head coach. If Sean McDermott can become a head coach, Kellen Moore, with this whole project here, will become a head coach. Could be in Buffalo, working with Josh Allen. Why would you go from one? And here, follow me here on this one. Here's my problem with the organization. What in the world and who influenced you to sit there and say, let's elevate the quarterback coach who had no experience to be the coordinator in 23 and then turn around and hire a guy who is almost like a savant with the way he handles quarterbacks, go with that kind of experience 1 year and not the next year or the year after? It's kind of inconsistent. There's my issue. Where do you really believe that the Eagles are this great hiring of assistant coaches when you've changed out 9 coordinators in 4 years? 2 with great success. 2 of your 9. I mean, so Moore leaves, you're back again, and Hurts is back again, starting from ground zero. No, and you know what, Abe? It's not that you're not good at it. You're not good at putting quality. Hey, here's something here. Think about. The Dallas Cowboys are failing Dak Prescott and putting quality people around him when it comes to players. They're not suffering with coaches around him. They've had more. They got Mike McCarthy. Those aren't bad coordinators. They're not bad coordinators. But when it comes to players, CD's out of camp. They're 2 and 3 are nowhere to be seen. They got a shitty running back. By the way, I personally believe that they regret letting Tony Pollard go. Where is he now? In Tennessee? The real zeal goes McCarthy's a mouth breather with a Super Bowl ring. Yeah, okay, sure. Remember, your guy's got an L. He's got a W. Okay? Always put that in context. Always put that in context. Yeah, well, that was in 2010, Sills. Well, you fuckers keep bringing up 2022 to me. You want to live in the past? The past matters to everybody. Hey, Real Zeal's right. Switzer has a Super Bowl. You're right. Jalen's been to a Super Bowl, so shit, it must not matter. Must not matter then. Shit, if Switzer has a Super Bowl ring, Jalen going to a Super Bowl must not matter. Okay. Fair enough. See, I hate when people don't put the same metric versus everyone else because it applies to everyone on all 32 teams, not just your team and your guy. Okay? Zimmer compared to Quinn, Sills. I think Mike's more structured. I like Mike Zimmer more than Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn's got a Super Bowl ring playing or working up in Seattle with Carroll. Did a decent job in Atlanta. I don't think Dan Quinn sucks. But I would take Mike Zimmer. I think he's more structured and puts players in better positions to win. Okay? Crowley. Defense is suspect still. Defense has always been suspect, and it will be until week 10. Okay? Switzer won with Jimmy. Butch Davis was the D coordinator of that team. Jalen was excellent in the Super Bowl. And was our whatever. Sills, what do you think of edge rusher from Ole Miss? I want to look more at him before I look at him because I gave you the top 10 guys from yesterday. So Kellen Moore is making Jalen Hurts a better. Ryan goes, Butch Davis stinks with 3 rings. What's your coordinator, Vic Fangio, got, Ryan? No rings. Just checking. What's your guy got? By the way, has Vic ever been to a Super Bowl? Has he? Just curious. Has your guy ever been to a Super Bowl? Butch is 3-0. Just curious. Has anybody that your coordinators have been to a Super Bowl? No. Okay, well, let's hang in there before you tell me how great they are. Just, I mean, you might want to hang in there. Okay? If the season is a success, make Kellen Moore head coach. Dude, if they get to the Super Bowl, they're not firing Nick Sirianni. Adam, he's got to a Super Bowl. Okay. Did he win it? What's his name says Butch was not a good head coach in the NFL. Okay. No one said he was. Still won a playoff game. Won a playoff game with the Browns, too, believe it or not. Patriots are going 2-15. Boy, they look terrible. Ryan, I got you, brother. We're good. Oh, thank you, dude. We need a play calling head coach. Let's see what that happens and see what that looks like next year. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Guys, please hit the like button. Seals, when you think of the foundation of the Eagles, you think front office or players. The staff is the bridge between the two, and this organization will not commit to building a staff. That's an absolutely true comment, and that's one thing that I can't stand about the organization. They refuse to build a good coaching staff. And you know what I mean? You guys go like this. Well, we got a good one this year. Yeah, but you won't next year. Or maybe you will. I don't know. So you've had 3. Get this. Is this fair to say that Jalen Hurts has had 3 different coaching staffs in 3 straight years? Is that fair? It's been like 3 different coaching staffs. Right? I mean, it's kind of weird. Going into 4 now. I think they'll give Nick another role. No way. No way. They're developing him into being a coach that they want. Senor Gosills, who's on the show today? Anyone challenging your great takes? I think Xander's going to be on at 5. And we're going to have Butch Davis on at 4:30, owner of 3 Super Bowl rings. The best quarterback in the league have consistent play calling. Reed, Taylor, McVay, Kyle. Isn't that look at podcast here? And those are your teams that are constantly in the NFC Championship game or divisional rounds. Reed, Taylor, McVay, and Kyle. There's no coincidence to that. There's just no coincidence to that. Okay? If Hurts doesn't want Nick after the Super Bowl, he's gone. Don't forget he was the one that got Nick demoted. Fair comment. Jalen can't master anything if he is always learning the basics of a new offense every year. It's my biggest concern with the fact that, you're hearing Kellen Moore's making Jalen a smarter player. Can you imagine? Okay, Why didn't you hire Kellen Moore last year after Kellen Moore got fired in Dallas? Why didn't you hire him? As soon as the Desai got, or Brian Johnson, why did you wait so long? Why didn't you just make the move and go get Kellen? Because you weren't sure about Kellen. Because the first option was Cliff Kingsbury. Remember something about Kingsbury and what makes him a special coach and why it's hard to hire him. He still has 2 years of $20 million that the Cardinals owe him. And the Eagles don't want to pay that. They would have to pay a percentage. And they did not want to do that. See, if you make $25 million or you make $20 million from the Cardinals, the Eagles have to pay the money that they pay him to the Cardinals to offset it. And Kingsbury has to agree to it. Kingsbury's actually taking a pay cut to be the coach and offensive coordinator of the Commanders because he's still under contract with the Cardinals. And if you get a job that's a lesser job than being a head coach, that money offsets. I would have hated Cliff. Well, that's who they wanted. They had a 3-year deal on the table. Cliff isn't that great. What did he do with Texas Tech? Got Mahomes drafted and developed the greatest quarterback in pro football history. Caleb Williams was the number 1 overall draft choice. He was the coordinator last year in USC. Took Kyler Murray to an 11-win season in Arizona when he had Pete Carroll, Sean McVay, and Kyle Shanahan in that NFC West. And you're the head coach of the shitty Cardinals. That's the player, not the coach. Forrest Hill says, well, okay, it's just a coincidence that he's coached Patrick Mahomes, who no one knew who he was, Texas Tech, Coach Caleb Williams, Coach Kyler Murray. Those are all just coincidences. And all of them got paid. Interesting. He got Kyler Murray a $46.1 million deal, but that's probably not anything to do with Kyle. Correct me if I'm wrong. He got hurt, and what happened last year? I don't remember. Cliff wouldn't have been the OC. It had not been for him wanting to get rid of Stoutland. Eduardo, pretty true. He wanted to get a new offensive line coach in there. And I've said this before to you too. I think that's a deal breaker. That's a deal breaker for me too. Okay? It is. That's a deal breaker. Caleb was under Cliff's buddy Lincoln Riley. Mike, the offensive coordinator at Southern Cal last year was Cliff Kingsbury. And Kyler Murray said that one of the most important things was having Kingsbury back there, helping him the fundamentals on being able to read and progress in how to read defenses. Okay, so I mean that's out of Caleb Williams' mouth. Also, it's not that easy to justify letting a coach that has 3 playoff runs and a Super Bowl appearance and a top 10 offense every year. That's right. Jose, no question. Say what you will, but he's outcoached a bunch of coaches that got Jose. Absolutely true. That's absolutely true about Nick Sirianni. That's absolutely true. As shitty as 2023 was, they had the eighth ranked offense. And you can say all the complaints you want about his influence. Still was ranked 8th. Everyone got raises. I mean, and they won 11 ball games. No question. Name 5 defenses in the NFC conference that's better than the Eagles right now. Niners, Packers, Lions. Lions, Packers, 49ers. Buccaneers. Maybe Seahawks. I don't think the Giants are better than the I think the Giants have a better front four. Their linebackers aren't very good and their secondary is atrocious. I do think the Rams too, Jack. I do think the Rams, even with losing Aaron Donald. I do. I think there's probably seven defenses better than the Eagle defense. Sure. And the rest of the Eagles are in the same group with the Bears. Unproven and not good, very awful linebackers and questionable edge rushers. This is what you are in defense. Face it. Two really good-looking prospect tackles, questionable edge rushers, 0 linebackers, and youth in the secondary, and injury-prone safety, 2 safeties, and you got an aging CB1 and youth everywhere else. That's who you are. Now, can that dynamic change? Yes. Atlanta, Daniel, I want to see Atlanta get home. I think the pass rush is the one questionable thing for Atlanta. Maybe a little bit on the run defense too. So they're kind of, Atlanta's in there with Philly too. Okay? Seals, no mention of Urban Meyer. I don't know what you keep bringing that up for. I don't know what happened to Urban Meyer. Okay? We don't know yet about our defense. Well, Chris, I think you just answered it. Akbar goes, you tripping, Seals. Seahawks? Tampa held you to 9 points. They stomped you. By the way, tripping? This guy Akbar doesn't want to face it. Questionable edge rushers, really good looking talented D tackles, 0 linebackers, an old corner, 2 injury-prone safeties, a rookie at corner, and all inexperience in the secondary. And he's saying that I'm tripping. That's what you are, guy. Stop talking about what you think they can be. That has nothing to do with reality. What are they right now? When you line up against the Packers, tell me what they have and who you are today. You are exactly what I just said you are. Can that dynamic be different in 10 weeks? I hate quantifying this shit to people that don't get it, but I will, yes. But today, on April 14th, that's who you are. I can't stand these guys that go around after a joint practice and tell me, where's Bryce? There's Bryce. You're like, Bryce Huff in a controlled fucking practice against the 2-15 Patriots? You're going to sit there in a non-game environment and tell me the pass rush, there it is? How dumb. It's an ignorant comment. It's an ignorant comment. Okay, now look. There's more upside with the Eagles this year with the youth. And hey, do this. Is Trotter really that good or getting better? Or is the fact that everyone else in the building is horrible? Or can 2 things be true? Yes. African goes, nothing impresses Sills. On your defense? No. A.J. Brown's impressive. See? When a guy makes a comment like that, I'm going to stop doing that. I'm not going to justify yourself to make you feel good and go that route so that you can feel good about yourself. I'm not doing that. It's like the Dave Chappelle line. How far do I have to go to make you feel good about yourself? I'm not doing it. Birds dominated the joint practice. Don't be an optimistic fan. Birds dominated the joint practice. Right. Correct. Be thrilled that there was progress made. That's how I would take it, Steve. Thank you. Yes. That's exactly how you're right. Right here. Yes. Birds dominated the joint practice. Don't be optimistic fan. Correct. I think you should be encouraged a little bit about what went on, and it's getting better. By the way, isn't it funny? How come I talk to you like Vic Fangio and you like the way Vic talks, but you don't like the way I talk? I talk like Vic Fangio. Sills, the good thing about this defense is that they are letting the yes, that's a great. Hey Bob, you got really great takes. You got really great takes. Urban Meyer's not going to Miami. Letting the. It's a great comment. That's a great comment. Letting the kids play. Get them out there. Get this. Once again, Swinsky. Here, look at this asshole here. This guy thinks I hate the Eagles and I want them to do bad. No, I want them to get better. How does my show get better and have more people watch it if you guys are 2-15? It's such an ignorant comment. Nobody here on this channel or here on this program is rooting for anything 2-15. How does that help me? Use your sense. How does that, hey, senor, how does that help my show, Swanky? How does that help my show if you suck? It blows my mind that you think I hope that. Dude, my show's success is more important than anything the fucking Eagles will ever do. And for them to be successful helps me. Sucking hurts me. Why would I hope for that? Any talk show host who wishes the team that they cover and the league they cover or the sport they cover to blow, I didn't say 5 wins. I said you have a 7-win defense. Yes, I'm not sold. You don't like it. That's not rooting for your success or failure. This guy thinks me making a proclamation that I think your defense sucks today is rooting for them to stink. It's an asshole comment. It's an absolute asshole comment. Nobody's rooting for that. But what you want me to do is sit here and tell you shit I don't believe. Once again, here's who you are. Suspect edge rushers, great-looking young talented defensive tackles as a tandem. You know, I'll even put that out there. As a tandem, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, they could be the best 2 young tackles in the league. If Jordan could just pick it up a little bit more, they could be. Your linebackers are atrocious. The entire group. You could throw the entire group into a volcano. The secondary, you're old at one corner. The other guy, you're so bad, you're keeping a $12 million guy praying he can help you at safety. It's economically unsound. 2 safeties that are casualties of war between Avonte Maddox and CJ. Then the rest are youth. That's what you are. Dude, let it play out. You think the offense is good enough to carry our defense to a Super Bowl, says Josh. Josh, now you're thinking. Josh, what's the one way, in your opinion, you think that the Eagles can carry that defense? Josh, what would you do in the first month of the season? Week 5 is the hey, so what? You want the cheerleader? You like cheerleaders? Xander's not a cheerleader, though. That's not a fair comment. So I'll take that back. He's not. Rob Ellis is a cheerleader. So that's more to the point. Where does Carter and Davis rank in tackles as a group? I think they're top 10, maybe. Run the ball, play action. Here's Jack down here. This is what I would do too. First 4 games getting into the bye to save my defense. I want to limit my defense to 60 snaps. Okay, Slagger, 60 snaps or less. And I want my offense to look like a Chip Kelly offense with 75 to 80 plays. Run that fucking ball. Kill that clock. Win a game 21-0. Probably not going to suffice the front office, but dude, if you win a game 21-0 or 21-3 or 27-3 and you're around there and you're beating opponents by 24 points, who gives a shit if you put 35 points up? What the fuck is this about? Is it about winning games and you're crushing teams by 3 touchdowns? What do you care if it's 30 points? To me, the point differential is what matters. If I beat a team 20-0 and someone's going to sit there and give me shit because I didn't score 30 points, but I shut you out and beat you 20 by 3 touchdowns, stop that. Okay, stop that. Okay, Prince says this. By the way, please hit the like button every time I see Prince. Sills, Green Bay's defense struggled last season, lost key players, and is in transition to a scheme under a new coach. How will they improve? The quarterback and the offense, same way we're talking here. But your point is valid. Your point is valid, but they did add also Xavier McKinney back there to the secondary. They brought him in and put him back there. And if I'm not mistaken, they signed that linebacker kid, and he's up in Green Bay too, and he's starting, and he looks awful good. So they've added some players also, and they spent $17.8 million to bring Xavier McKinney in. So, okay, I mean, guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. We appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. J-Mac was concerned Moore was not going with splash plays enough because Hurts is good at it. But Dink and Dunk and Slagger. Okay, how about this? Slagger. Tom Brady didn't win with explosion plays. Who are you going to trust? Tom Brady dinking and dunking and punting, playing special teams? Get this. The all-time leading passer, Slagger, is a dink and dunk passer. He has more passing yards in the postseason and in the regular season than any quarterback that's ever played. And he only had really 1 year where he threw the ball deep. That was when Moss was there. What are you going to believe? Explosion plays down the field or playing the percentage game? Wouldn't you rather throw 10 plays you know you can complete versus 6 plays? Wouldn't you rather throw 10 of them? Give yourself a better chance of winning, controlling the clock, controlling field position and time? Come on, man. Controlling clock and red zone will be critical to the team's success, just like it was in 22. Absolutely. Sills, yes, Sills, I totally disagree with J-Mac on that. We know we could throw it deep. By the way, Umberto, I'm not saying don't pick your moments. Brady picked his moments. And I think Kellen will help him pick his moments through the landmarks he's showing him. Dude, throwing the ball deep now. How about this? Before I take a time out here, watch this. So if I start the game, who we play? Green Bay. And I start throwing the ball deep. Say on the first series, do a couple screen passes, hand the ball off, we're moving the chains. First down, we throw the ball deep, incomplete, 2nd and 10. Barkley trips in the backfield. You're now 3rd and 9. You get a 3 and out. In the second series, you're going to turn that defense over to Jordan Love, and he's on the 35-yard line of the Packers versus that defense early in the season. It's a remedy to get killed. It's a remedy to get killed. You do 5 of those, Packers will beat you and blow you out. Or would you rather do this? Hand the ball off, get that ball at 3rd and 1, keep it at 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. And methodically go down the field on a 14-play drive and run them off the fucking scoreboard. How many times in 22 did we look up and go, damn, the half's over? Eagles up 14-0. You're like, and the opposing team had the ball 6 minutes. And you're like, damn. I mean, they kind of took the wind out of you. Right? I mean, they completely took the wind out of you. Black Leo says, as a quarterback, you have to put in the work, even when nobody's looking. Hurts has done that in him. Unlike most, he will work on his craft. He is working on his craft. He is. I think him and Kellen are really working well. Seals, the offense needs to carry them through week 9, 10, putting a lot of looks on tape. By then, the D should have turned the corner. Yeah, that's the remedy. That's the formula. That's the formula. That's right there. That's right, Jose. Jose, amen. That's by 1,000 cuts. Okay? Brian goes, yeah, we were blowing teams out in the first half. Hey, not only that, though, Brian, tell me how many times you looked up and you went, the Giants got the ball for 8 minutes? They got the ball 8 minutes? And you're up 14-0. Shit, the comment was we couldn't put teams away in the second half. 22. Seals, do you think Katera is good enough now that he can run 2 tight end set? Umberto, I said this earlier in the program about Grant Calcaterra. Dude, you got to show me now. We're in year 3. Let's go. Let's play. Stop getting hurt. You're like a balsa wood, paper mache. Get your ass out there and play. Okay? Get your ass out there and play, kid. Regardless of the time, I'm seriously concerned about the pass rush. I am. That's what, hey, Black Leo. Right. Right. How do you combat that? Ball control. Field position. That's why I wanted Matt Araiza. Matt Araiza. You know, Matt Araiza is averaging like 45 yards a punt in the preseason so far. And in practice, he's averaging 47 yards. That could be the greatest acquisition of any team in the offseason because you have a game-changing, field position-changing football player in Kansas City now. And if that guy, Xavier Worthy, turns out to be a home run hitter, Brett Veach and Andy and all them guys, that's insanity. You got a punter that can punt as an average 40. When he was with the Bills, he was averaging 47 yards a punt in the postseason, in the exhibition season. Okay? Yeah, but Umberto, a good punter, changes the game. Very true, Sills. Not only does he change the game, he saves your defense. Your offense has a 3 and out. You've got a great punter like Matt Araiza. Drop his ass in there, and you have a 3 and out on the 35, 38-yard line. And this guy puts it down in the coffin corner, and you got the team backed up on the 10. Dude, that's a grand slam. That means that team's got to go 90 yards, 95 yards. There's just nothing. Hey, you don't have good special teams in today's NFL like that, game-changing punter, and you got a suspect defense, and most defenses in this league are suspect now. Punting is an incredible asset to have now. That's why they signed a guy who was accused of raping a woman in Kansas City. Think about how much that has to kill Clark Hunt to hire that. Man, even if he's innocent, which he is, you still got the bullshit about it. But he's so good, they ate that. He's innocent. Yeah, I know, man. In this world, nobody forgives and forgets. Yeah, but he didn't do anything. That ain't the point. He was guilty for 2 years in the eyes of the media and in the eyes of fans and in the eyes of the internet assassins. You know? Remember, yeah, Ray Guy too. All right, guys. Do me a favor, guys. Where are we on the like button right now? Please do me a favor. Please hit that like button. Don't forget, owner of 3 Super Bowls, as a defensive coach and D coordinator, Butch Davis is going to join us at 4:30. One of the greatest talent evaluators of all time will join us. I believe Xander's going to join us at around 5 o'clock too. So where are we right now in this like list? By the way, we got another topic coming up here in a second. Guys have been really great. You guys have been killing it the last 4 or 5 days. I mean, guys, I mean it. Please smash that like button. I can't thank you enough for the super chats too. I think tomorrow's going to tell us a little bit more. You know, it's more of a game environment. And by the way, I want to make sure I walk back on one thing here. I'm not talking trash any way on Johnny Mac. No way. Please don't think that, because I'm not. I'm not in any way. I love the show that they do with, Xander and him, Birds 365. So please, if it landed there, you got to always make sure nowadays that people will say you're talking shit on someone. It's not true. So I didn't mean it. If it landed there, that's not where I was going with it. So I got a lot of respect for what he does and how he covers the team, and we really appreciate it. Please hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your greenhouse? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Appreciate everybody coming aboard. Thank you guys again. I appreciate it. Please hit the like button. Butch Davis will join us at 4:30, and then we'll have Xander Krause. He'll join us at 5 o'clock, Prince. is saying here, how was the linebacker playing 22 when it came to coverage? Didn't need it. He had 70 sacks and a high volume of pressure. You don't really need to cover people when the routes aren't developing. There lies the difference in why the linebackers wasn't really imperative that the linebackers were great cover guys back in 22. Why? High volume of pressure, number one pressure team in the league, and you had 70 sacks, a historic sack number that didn't allow the routes to progress and develop in the secondary. Simple. You're welcome, Prince. It's exactly what happened. Your pressure was down everywhere, across the board. Your pressure was down. I mean, I think that was very evident. Guys, please hit the like button here. Yeah, hey, by the way, I just want to show you guys something. I know some of you get pissed off at some of my takes here, but the city of San Diego is just absolutely pissed off at me all day long, yesterday and now today. And I even have like some people at Entertainment Tonight that are liking my my tweet. I tweeted out, and I'm paraphrasing here, that the Chargers' value of their football team has gone up 4 times and they don't even own a stadium. It's now worth $5.5 billion, and everybody in San Diego is mad. And I said the best thing they ever did was leave San Diego. It's not a rip at San Diego. It's just a rip that they were able to expand the wealth of the football team and the value of the team. And they said, well, what does that mean to winning? Nobody's talking about winning. They're talking about moving their business. St. Louis, the Rams moving out of St. Louis, they're now the second richest team in the league. Think that wasn't a good idea for Stan Kroenke? Oakland Raiders are now the 8th or 7th richest team in the NFL. They were 28th when they were in Oakland. Well, wait a minute. What about the fans? Fuck the fans when it comes to the owners. They don't care about you. You think the NFL owners care about St. Louis or care about Oakland, care about San Diego, traditional AFL teams and cities? No. And I didn't really know that the city of Los Angeles was howling for the NFL to go back. I never heard that. League wasn't there for 25 years. They got 2 teams. And the Chargers are not even really relevant, except for the fact that their wealth went up. I mean, still, the Chargers are penny pinchers. So, and? I mean, the Spanos family bought the team for $54 million. It's worth $5.5 billion. They bought that team from Gene Klein back in the early 90s, former owner of the Chargers, for $54 million. The team's worth $5.5 billion. I don't know. Might be a pretty decent investment. They don't even own a stadium. They pay $1 a year in rent. No overhead, no shit. All $500 million that after taxes and bills and shit, they pocket and put in their pocket. Come on, man. It's a gold mine move moving to Los Angeles. Everybody in San Diego's mad at me because they think I'm taking shots. I go, well, there, you're stuck with the shitty Padres. The Padres are a good team. No, they're not. No, they're not. You spent $250 million in payroll the last 4 years. What's it got you? Nothing. Nothing. You're known for hamburgers, Big Macs, the San Diego chicken, and Tony Gwynn. And they're mad at me. Hey, I know I say some shit. I know. That's all you're known for. Look at KC. Padres have won 18 of 21. Congratulations to them. And since 1969, they've lost more Major League Baseball games since they came into the league than any team in pro baseball. They've won no World Series. They've been to 2. And they're just a shitty franchise. It's got a great ballpark, though. I've been there numerous times. It's fabulous. But, hey, your ballpark's great. Got good food in it, too. Really good food. It's down in the Gaslamp, too. It's really great. All right. Okay. And shit, the Royals have won a World Series. The Marlins have won 2. You know, the Marlins have won 2. You know, the Marlins have won 2 World Series and never have won a division title. They've never won the National League East and won a World Series in the same year. I don't know if they've ever won the National League East. The Florida Marlins, Miami Marlins, have never won a National League East, but they've won 2 World Series. Okay, what's your point, Sills? My point is that, hey, Philly's not the only people I piss off because I tell the truth. Told them the truth. Chargers moving out was the best thing ever happened to the Chargers. Man, they didn't think I had all the paperwork, though, too, because Mark Fabiani was sending me all the paperwork on how they were going to relocate. I posted it on my Twitter page. It's actually secret documents that they released to the city. And I posted them on my Twitter page. This is a couple of years back, I think 16. So we're very well connected. Okay, anyway. All right. By the way, before we go on and we move on to the next topic here. So I saw that stupid comment and I saw that stupid tweet and I saw the stories. Colin Kaepernick wants to play still. This thing's 7 years old. Guy, the UFL and the CFL and the Canadian Football League and the Arena League are there for you. Go play. You had all these years to play in those leagues to prove that you want to play. You're just an absolute train wreck of a human. You never really wanted to play. Look at Josh Johnson. Played in every league there was. Played on 14 different teams. That guy really wants to play in the NFL. Josh Johnson wants to play. Colin Kaepernick's an asshole. And I'm not talking about his politics. I'm talking about his ignorance and his arrogance. You really want to play, son? Don't hide behind being some sort of social activist. Nobody gives a shit about your social activist when you're a football player. You're either good or you're not. And I happen to think he's pretty decent. The guy's an asshole. You want to play? Josh Johnson proves. Josh Johnson played in the Arena League, the XFL, the UFL, Canadian League. He's played in every league there is. And plus the NFL gave Colin Kaepernick $20 million to go away. I mean, he's not a bad player, but he turned into this Oprah Winfrey mouthpiece that everybody he thinks is some sort of social activist. The NFL's not social activist. By the way, you don't see anybody kneeling anymore. Nobody kneels at NFL games. The players don't kneel. You know why? They don't show it. They don't want advertisers getting aggravated. They do that in other dorky sports. Don't do that in the league. You ain't hurting advertisers for owners. Hey, we'll tell you what you want to hear. Yeah, we're activists and we're this and we're that. No, they're not. No, they're not. Why is it hard for black coaches to get hired? Cowboys have never had a black coach in the history of their franchise. Hey, we're activists. I know. I know. Advertisers ruled. Hey, by the way, the NFL is prejudiced to green. They love green. They love green people. They love greenbacks. No, are you black or white? I don't care. Hey, but is it green? Can I put in my cash register? Yeah. You bet, baby. That's what they like. Okay? That's what they like. Colin Kaepernick wants to still play. God, I can't wait for that thing to just completely go away. And him to go away. I'm still working hard. For what? For your emotions. To be a snowflake. To remind you that the NFL fucked them over. Well, the NFL gave him $25 million of fuck you money to go away. He didn't cry then, did he? Now he's crying again? Must be out of money. Hit the like button, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming aboard with us. By the way, I don't begrudge the guy being a social activist. Go. But don't use the league to do it. Why? Go be a social activist. That's cool. Do what Ali did. Ali never protested in the ring. You want to be a real activist? Go be an activist. That's fine. More power to you. It's a great thing. But to sit there and use the league because you're nobody? Colin had a point with kneeling, that whole thing, but he literally is not good. He's an art. No, I disagree with that, Forrest. I actually think Colin Kaepernick was a really good football player. I disagree with that. I think he was on a shitty 49er team at the end that they stripped down. Trent Baalke turned it into a train wreck. I actually like Kaepernick, the player. I did not. Okay, I did not. I actually think he's a good ball player. If you look at his last year, if you extrapolate it out, he'd have had a pretty good year. Big Mom Sills, shout out from New Zealand. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate that, man. That's really cool. Sills, you and Cap have opposite beliefs, but you're similar in many ways. Well, I mean, I don't know how we're similar. But I disagree with people. I thought he was good. I thought Colin Kaepernick was a good ball player. I'll tell you this. Kaepernick was before Lamar. Go. Stills and Cap both have afros. I think we're both Sicilian. Hey, Prince. Okay, so we're both Sicilian. Is that what you're saying? Probably are. So you like Cap, but not Hurts. No, I said I think he's a good ball player. I think Jalen Hurts is a good ball player. Why does it always have to go back to your boy? Sills thinks that Colin Kaepernick got to a Super Bowl too, didn't he? He carried a team to a Super Bowl, like your boy. Sills, I agree on Kaepernick. I just wish the league would keep the social. Absolutely. Me too, man. It would have been better for him, and it would have been better for the league and everyone else. Okay. Cap thinks vanilla offense. Oh, you know what I mean, Sills. I'll leave it at that. Prince, shut up. Just hit the damn like button for me, please. I get people free speech, but that dude acts like he's like a victim, and it's disrespectful to veterans and people that died for their freedoms. Coyote, the flag means a lot of things to different people. You see Brittany Griner at the Olympics when they won the gold medal, and there she was crying. Person that had been kneeling the whole time. Man, did I respect her a lot. Okay? She doesn't really like a lot of, I mean, if you're African-American or minority in this country, I don't see it through the prism that you see it through. So I respect your place. But man, to see her standing there crying because just months earlier, she was released from being captive in Russia and winning a gold medal. That was a pretty great moment, man. Okay? That was a pretty cool moment. I won't lie. I was like, damn. That's what the Olympic spirit is right there. That's what that Olympic spirit is. She's held captive and imprisoned for smoking weed in Russia. They keep her in a cage. She's out, and then 18 months later, she's lifting a gold medal up in Paris. I like it. I like it. Yeah, she's in a Russian jail. Good for her, man. Philly thing. Jalen Hurts is elite. He's only going to get better. He's not elite. There's one elite quarterback in the NFL. Two. There's two elite quarterbacks in the NFL. Stop using that word. Okay? He's not. Josh Allen's not. Joe Burrow's not. Lamar Jackson's not. Jalen Hurts is not. None of them are, but Mahomes. And I would say Rodgers. Okay, now I don't know what Rodgers is going to look like at 39, but Mahomes most definitely. He's the only elite guy in the league. Okay? He's the only elite guy in the league. Trade Diva, only elite player in the league. Okay? Look at this guy. Hurts outplayed Mahomes. Not when it mattered. There's 60 minutes to a game. Not when it mattered. James goes, I'm black and I don't share the opinion that the rest of my brothers and sisters do, but I'm part of a small minority that don't believe in BLM. And James, it's okay to believe in either one. Everybody in this country has a right to believe in it. I completely believe in everyone's right to have free speech, whatever that looks like. Okay? You want to wear a hood or you want to wear a robe? It's up to you. I'm not here to judge that. Not my opinion. Seals, how do you think Moore will revamp the offense? Because, like you said, everyone got paid, so how much better can it be? I think it's going to be more about Jalen Hurts getting better. Everyone got better last year but Hurts. Absolutely. Okay? Absolutely. Okay? $50 million plus Jalen, no question, is elite. So he's under the same impression then that Trevor Lawrence is elite because he got $55 million. Is that right, Arthur? So Trevor Lawrence is elite too because he got $55 million. And Justin Herbert's elite because he got $53 million. So because they got more, they're more elite than Jalen, right? Right? Is that right? Let's move on here. I want to show you something here. Before we go on here, CBS has ranked the top contenders for the NFC. I'm going to put my spin on it. I'm going to get to the second topic here in a minute of the Eagles. Here's CBS's top contenders. 10 up. Saints. Bears at 9. Falcons at 8. Bucks at 7. Rams at 6. From the city of brotherly love, Eagles 5. Cowboys 4. Lions 3. Packers 2. 49ers 1. So CBS has this. Okay? 49ers 1, Packers 2, Lions 3, Cowboys 4, Eagles 5. Top contenders in the NFC. Rams 6, Bucks 7, Falcons 8, Bears 9, Saints 10. Here's Big Sills. Number 10, I'm going to take these 10 teams. I would add some different teams, but here's my 10 teams. That based off of CBS's 10. I got the Cowboys 10, and I don't think they are the 10th best team. I think that's a 5-win football team. Until you show me they can run the ball and protect that quarterback, and you have another receiver that's going to pick up the mail on the other side of CD. I don't buy it, and I don't think you could stop the run. I just don't see it. I got the Bears 9. I got the Saints 8th. Shitty division. And the weakest schedule in the league. I got the Bucks 7. I got the Falcons 6. I got the Eagles 5. I got the Rams 4. The Lions 3. Packers 2. Niners 1. That's where I'd go. Anyone who says Mahomes is better than Hurts is brain dead. Hurts outplayed Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Here. This is what you call an internet assassin. How many people in here buy that? Guy who's 15-3 in the postseason is working on his third Super Bowl ring and having been there 4 times. How many people would buy this from this internet assassin? Mahomes is 15-3. Hey, you know I have to laugh. Okay, you know, hey, wait a minute. No, Prince. It reminds me, Prince, to laugh is all I'm saying. Prince, don't be so fucking serious, man. Just like the Joker says, why so serious, Prince? Prince, why so serious? I'm not. Stop crying, Prince. You know, one thing I do say this, man. You cry as much as those folks in San Diego or Philly, too, for that matter. All right. First year, Philadelphia Eagles to have the impact on the 24 team. I wrote these dudes down. Thank you very much. I'm awake. Or you. Please, guys, like and subscribe. We appreciate you guys very much. What Eagle? First year Eagle. Guyton's going to be a stud. All right. Better not let Bryce Huff run around his ass. Quinyon Mitchell, Devin White, Bryce Huff, Gardner Johnson. Now, he's back, so I'm giving him another first year because he wasn't here a year ago. Saquon Barkley, Micaiah Becton, Cooper, Jason Sehorn, Dejin, Will Shipley. What Eagle will have the biggest impact that's a first-year Eagle on the team? Vince says CJ will have it. I hope it's Huff, but it'll probably be Barkley. Becton. Guyton. Oh, we should put Trotter on there. My bad. Wow, Trotter's made my list. Wow, has he come a long way? Quinyon Mitchell. What kind of impact am I expecting him to have this year? Probably start nine games. Will he get any picks? I'll say 1. I say he gets 9 game starts. I think he plays in all. I think he plays in them all. But I think he probably starts 9. Anybody remember Eagles were 10-1 last year? Then they switched defensive coordinators, then lost 6 straight. Hey, Philadelphia, Jason Kelsey addressed that. He addressed it. 3 picks. 3 pick sixes. There you go, senor. Keep the faith, brother. Keep the faith. Who starts first? Good question. Quinyon, Cooper, or Trotter? Quinyon. DeJean won't start probably till after the bye, unless there's a disaster. And Trotter won't start until probably week 6. It's Huff with 13 sacks. Okay, here. Devin White. How many games does he start, and what's his impact this year? Terrible versus the run. But he's got Carter and Davis in front of him. How many does that guy? Does Devin White have 100 tackles? Well, hey, does he have 100 tackles? Oh, no way. No way. He might get beat out by the end. JM says 60. 60 tackles? Ten starts. Then I'll tell you at the end of this little exercise here who I think has the biggest impact. 130. Oh, my God. Get this. Let me show you how fucking pathetic Howie Roseman is. I wish I could bring that up, that guy that said 130. 130 still doesn't even remotely come close to the 160 that you let walk out the building. It's so ridiculous. 130. That still, by the way, 120 was Kaiser White. That's a fantasy, and I gave you White. Kaiser White, who you guys hate, had 120 tackles on that 22 defense. He had 120. And TJ had 159, 160. I say 60 tackles, too. I'll go with that. 10 games started for Devin White. I don't think he's very good. Okay? I don't. If White can get us 5 to 6 sacks and okay coverage, be a huge deal. I'm awake, are you? Yeah, about 60 tackles. Who else is starting at linebacker? Zach Bond and Trotter. Or yet to be determined. Bryce Huff. These are all first-year Eagles. I disagree. So I'm awake or you is going to say that he disagrees with a guy who hasn't showed up in 5 years. But he going to show up in Philly. Oh, what? Yeah, that's it. Devin Dick Butkus White. Oh, no. Devin Seth Joyner White. Bryce Huff. What's his impact this year? What's Devin White's impact? These are all first-year Philadelphia Eagles. Devin Joyner, right? Feels more like Devin Kirkland. Yeah, I don't think so. I say this about Bryce Huff. About 45 tackles and 6 sacks. There you go. 6 sacks. Hey, look at this guy. I'm going to tell you something here. Folks, remember I said this, and you guys can quote this, and please earmark this. No, wait, where is it? Who said, what did he say? 15, there it is. He said 15 sacks. Here's another guy with 15. That'll be the biggest disaster the New York Jets have ever had and the greatest sign in the history of the Eagles if he gets 15 sacks. I'm going to start calling Bryce McMullen. Bryce McMullen. Let's see here. So, okay. Here's a new one here. Gardner Johnson. What impact does CJ make? By the way, 9.5 sacks. 7.5. That's a colossal failure. Gardner Johnson, impact he makes this year. Let's see. Say he starts 6 games. 3 picks. He plays in more than 6, but he'll be banged up all year. Pro Bowl safety. Guy missed 12 games last year, and the year before that, he missed 5. This guy's played 15 ball games in 2 years. He's all pro or Pro Bowl safety. He's played 15 ball games in 2 years. Out of 34 games, he's played 15. I mean, dude, 15, he's missed half the games. Seals claimed he could do whatever he wants. JAKIB, JAKIB's never told me I can't talk about anything. Ever. But this is a sports show, dude. Okay? It's sprinkled in a little politics. And I don't know when it comes out. No predetermined number here. Don't ever, hey, you must be thinking of WIP. That's where you can't talk about your own problems or things. This show and this network talks about everything. You have the wrong place. That's your local radio stations that can't do that because of the lawyers there. Believe me, we know. They call us. Wait till the football season comes. Holy cow. Joe Krause's ear is going to have like one of those rhubarb leaves when the season starts. Make a big old rhubarb leaf. What did he say? Who did he call out? Oh, man. This is going to be an interesting one. Saquon Barkley. Who has the biggest impact? Not on this week, Cosmo. Seals, every guy on that list has real competition for their job except Barkley. Barkley has a real chance to make Hurts more effective and keep him from needing to run. The L will cover the D. Okay? Let's see. Barkley's impact. People are going to hate this. I think this is tremendous. Let me add it. Barkley, 950 yards rushing, 550 receiving, and 15 touchdowns. Comes out to 100 yards because I think he's going to play 15 games. He'll give you 100 yards a game. Do you know that he'll give you more yards per game than Devontae Smith will? Dallas Goedert? And most likely AJ? 100 yards a game. And I would say this. Actually, Bijan had a better season last year than Barkley. He was on the Atlanta Falcons. He was a rookie. Told you he was one of those sandbox guys. If you were the Eagles, I would consider trading away one of our top wide receivers. No way, not right now, man. Come on. 15-50 from scrimmage? Yeah. No. Yeah, total yardage, you mean? Yeah, because they're not going to be an isolated run deep offense. They're not going to run the ball 28 times a game. Out of your minds. Mekhi Becton. What's you guys' take on Mekhi Becton? What kind of impact does he have? Here's mine. He plays in 16 to 17 games, and he's a Pro Bowler. He's a Pro Bowler. Stoutland University, baby. I think he's a Pro Bowler. Dude, he'll be one of the most wanted free agents next year. If that guy plays 17 games, he can show that he can play guard and also that he's a offensive left tackle, and everyone knows he's that, but can play both. The money he'll make next year just might not be in Philly. Dude, he's going to make, if he plays 17 games and starts for them, he's going to make a ton of money. He's young too. Resurrected his career. Then he makes the decision. Do I take $5 million less to stay in Philly? Or I take the job of Lane Johnson? He can play in the right side. He'll prove that he can play in the right side. I mean, he'll be one of the most important. He'll be, in my opinion, by the end of the year, the best free agent sign that you have had in the O-line since Jason Peters. He's got to play 17 weeks, though, for that to matter. Okay? Jason Peters. Is he that good? No. Not saying he's Jason Peters. But he'll have an impact like that. He'll have an impact like that. I think Cooper DeJean's going to play a couple games starting. They'll put him in there late, maybe mid, back into the schedule. Yeah. Still says Keegan make an impact this year. I don't think this year, depending if there's some injuries over on the left side with Landon, you could see him get in there. Will Shipley. I think Shipley's going to make some impact on this team. 300-400 yards rushing. Maybe a couple hundred yards receiving. Got to put him in situational plays. And And then there's Trotter. I don't know yet. I got to see him out. I want to see him Thursday night. Let me see Jeremiah Trotter Thursday night. Wisniewski was solid. Was that Stefan? Was that Stefan Wisniewski? I played against I played against the other brother that went to Penn State and was a Raider, and I loved him. Yeah, I think that was right. Was it Stefan Wisniewski that played in the offensive line for the Eagles on that 17 team, right? Okay. We'll see. I'm awake or you. I want to see it Thursday night. All right, guys, I got to take a time out here. Please hit that like button. Butch Davis is going to be at the bottom of the hour. I cannot wait to talk to my former coach, owner of 3 Super Bowl rings, one of the absolutely, truly greatest talent evaluators that I've ever seen. I mean, Sean Taylor, Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, Sapp, Cortez Kennedy, Russell Maryland, Andre Johnson, Devin Hester. God, go down the list of players. McGahee, Edrin James, Frank Gore. All of these guys he recruited and brought to the university. And then, of course, all the things he did at Carolina. And what a great coach, and the things he did, obviously, at the University of Miami. So, 3-time Super Bowl champion, D coordinator, also with the Dallas Cowboys. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sports book and casino.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up, and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your greenhouse? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Appreciate you guys coming along. Please hit the like button. Butch Davis, the owner of 3 Super Bowl championship rings, as a defensive coach with the Dallas Cowboys and also a national title ring with the University of Miami, will join us. Former NFL head coach. Please hit the like button, guys. You guys are absolutely killing it. We really thank you guys a lot. I like what Brandon Graham is saying here about Jalen Hurts is just seeming more comfortable and more confident. By the way, let me put a little note there to that because I want to go back to that before we get Butch on. I want to say one thing about Aaron Rodgers before we move on. God, does he absolutely know how to pull the strings of the media? He was doing a morning show with Boomer Esiason, who's been on the program numerous times, as you guys know. And we're working to get Boomer on. He was trying to come on today, but he had other obligations that popped up. And a producer asked the question to Aaron Rodgers. I guess he was on set yesterday about the Malaysian plane crash. And he went to some conspiracy theory. You know, he's the guy with the vaccinations and all that. And media just goes nuts. He knows it. He's the Donald Trump of quarterbacks in the NFL. He just says shit to antagonize you. And you know he's doing it to antagonize the liberal media. And I mean, I don't know how that helps him or the Jets. But man, if I was Robert Saleh, I'd be like, come on, dog. Let's kind of cool it down. I mean, we're going to go try to win a game. I'm answering questions about the Malaysian plane crash because you've got a conspiracy theory. I'd be like privately going, can you give it a break? Hey, look, I get your vaccine. Okay, the immunizing, I mean, it's not something for me to sit there and tell who to get, who not to have. And I don't care. It's your call. But, dude, I mean, the liberal media goes, did you hear him? He's really weird. I mean, he believes there's some conspiracy on the Malaysian plane crash. I will say one thing to that. Did they ever find a plane or anybody? No. What'd they find? Like a seat cushion? It's kind of, I mean, it is bigger than a bread box. It is a pretty big deal, right? It's a pretty big airplane. I mean, right? I mean, we're not talking about like a little car here, like a little Acura. We're talking about like an airplane. Did they ever find it? You know, they found 2 teacups and a cushion. Okay. It just went off radar. Yeah, never be seen again. It's in the ether. Okay. Hey, wait a minute. Here's Yale. The Indian Ocean's huge. So wait, we could find a space rock somewhere in the Mexico continent. Okay? In Mexico. But we can't find an airplane that went down. I kind of buy into it a little bit. There's something weird, going on when it comes to that. But, dude, all kidding aside, come on, dog. Come on, man. I mean, we got a football season coming up, man. Do I need the noise of some reporter coming up? Hey, your secondary's looking real good. Hey, what do you think about the Malaysian air crash? What? Aaron was talking about that. He thinks there's a conspiracy. You're like, oh, God. Hey, dude, I'd be like, come on, man. You got to be kidding me. That Jets thing is. And you know why people are covering the Jets? Because they're polarizing. Because they've got a weirdo quarterback. Okay? And I think actually he's going to have a great year. I do. Okay, I mean, I think they're gonna have a really good football season here. I do. Okay. One last thing on Jerry Jones before we get to Brandon Graham. Sales, my man crushes are Trump, Josh Allen, and now A-Rod. Let's see. Ratings. Congratulations, Prince. You figured my code out. Oh. Oh. Whoa. Wow, look at Prince. What a big, deep thinker. Whoa. Unbelievable. Prince figured out the code. Like the Da Vinci Code. Whoa. Holy cow. Who would have thought that Prince was that smart? Not I. Oh, my God. Can you believe it? He figured out the code. Oh, man. Come on, Prince. Damn, dog. What do you think we're going to talk about here? Okay, hold on. Here's what we'll talk about. Let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals secondary play. I know I got a better one. Let's talk about the Giants. Holy shit. I don't want to spend a second on the Giants. Only when you guys play them will I talk about the New York Giants. Okay? You're almost 60, bro. Relax. Dude, 60 and going on 20. Remember that. I have no maturity to my brain. I never will. And when I do, I'm done doing this. Breaking news. Sills likes ratings. Wow. Another guy. Got to put it up there. Oh, yeah. Well, that kind of keeps you employed, doesn't it? Hey, what do you think people watch this? Hey, right, Joe? Hey, man, it's probably, people keep me employed because of my wonderful disposition and my wonderful tone and my way around things and how I, deal with people. Probably, especially when I'm telling the folks of San Diego, the only thing you're known for is Big Macs, Tony Gwynn in a stadium, and fish tacos. Hey, because you're not known for winning. I don't think they've ever won a championship in their entire life, that city. Just saying. Oh, man. The Eagles have a second best quarterback behind. Oh, my God. The Eagles have the second best quarterback behind Mahomes. Hold on here. I got to put that up. Hold on. Let me laugh some more. Oh, my God. Is this going to be a really good year or what? Oh, man. Woo! It'll be a great year. Oh, man. Hey, I've never seen a man like Prince before. Just glaze over these nuts. Like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Okay, don't forget Butch Davis at the bottom of the hour. And we'll have Xander at the top for all you lovers out there. Xander will try to hit up with us here. We appreciate you guys. Hey, I'm Reese. Yeah. Brandy Graham, man, says that Jalen Hurts is more comfortable. He's got a better view of life. He pontificates now and sees things like Gandhi. I added that. Guys, please hit the like button. Like Gandhi. So he's like, he's had an epiphany. What's the words again? Improved view of life. These are Brandon Graham's words. I mean, what does that mean? He's got a better view of life. I don't care how he sees life, personally. I don't want to get to know him like that. I just want you to win me some ball games. I just don't want you to win me some ball games. I want you to win me the games. I can get Dak to win me some ball games. I don't give a shit about your way you're thinking in life, Brandon. I don't care that Aaron Rodgers is a dick. Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest quarterbacks ever to play. Do I like him? Probably not. Do I love to play with him? Play for him? Absolutely. Why does that have to be a factor? You think people love Tom Brady? Probably. Brady went out of his way with that stuff. Probably. Looks like people in Kansas City really like Patrick Mahomes as well. Okay? Josh goes, don't disrespect BG now. I'll disrespect. Hey, dog, relax. Stop with your whining. Stop whining. When somebody says something that they say, remember something. When you make a comment about something, be prepared to have it challenged. No matter if you're the president of the United States or you're the Pope. Brandon Graham's not the Pope. Okay? I don't give a crap who it is. Okay? No whining. No whining. Brandon Graham talking about Hurts having a different view of life and such. Is he more mature? Possibly. Dude, what I want people to do when they go out and play is win ball games. Personalities, that's for Hollywood. Okay? That's for Hollywood. I'm talking about winning ball games here. I'm not talking, I don't, before I get Coach Davis on, you know what we had the greatest thing of my life when we had at Miami? You know what it was? We had the greatest coaching staff of all time. We had the greatest personalities of all time. I've never been around anything like that in my life. The only thing close to things that I loved more is my current family. That was just like being like in Camelot. You know what it was? It was just winning. Coaches, I never heard a coach. You know what's funny too? I tell Dave Wannstedt and Jimmy this that come on the program all the time. Those coaches treat me today the same as they treated me when I was 19 years old. And without further ado here, before he comes on, before you bring him up, I got to tell you this one story here. So Butch used to have, and I don't know if Drew was around as a kid, but him and Tammy used to have, like the position coaches used to have us out at these barbecues. And Butch would have like food out, sodas and whatever, right? And he had this canal in the back. And this canal's out there. Me, Stubbs, Jerome were sitting in the back. And I swear to God, I don't know if Drew was here yet, but Tammy, his wife, God love her so much. She was always great to us. So we're eating food and such, and everyone goes swimming in this ravine here that Butch had. You know, they have these locks and stuff. And so we had Jimmy Jones, who played for the Cowboys. So Jimmy's out there, and we're sitting there eating. And Jerome's like, you think he can swim? I'm like this, and I'm like, what do you mean? We're all looking at Jimmy Jones is drowning right behind Butch's house. We're sitting there going, this guy's going down. This guy would end up taking my spot because I ended up going to the NFL. But Jimmy, it was like from what was that? Opelika or something like that? Okeechobee, because Butch used to always go, here he is, the king of Okeechobee. And this guy used to just, we saved the guy's life out back of Butch Davis's house. Now, guys, I'm going to bring him in here, and I got to say this to you. Sean Taylor, Ray Lewis, Russell Maryland. He is easily one of the greatest recruiters in the history of college football and put more guys in pro football. He's my former coach. He owns 3 Super Bowl rings and a national championship ring. Built the 2000, 2001, and 2 Miami Hurricane football teams that put all those guys in the pros. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing great, Dan. It's absolutely awesome to be with you. And I love the story about Jimmy Jones almost drowned in the water and people had to jump in the water to save his life and stuff. That's an amazing story.
Oh my God. Butch, one of the things that I like, Coach, so much that we used to do, and, I say this to everyone, and I look back on it, Coach, one of the things that I took for granted was how great you guys were. I know we had a super collection of players, but I remember seeing Joe Paterno or Barry Switzer or Lou Holtz all watching us, and all them coaches always coming up going, how do these guys get you guys to practice so hard? I'm like, I got Cortez Kennedy and Russell Maryland behind me. It ain't that hard.
That's the truth. But you know what, Dan? I mean, obviously, one of the things that made the University of Miami teams and stuff awesome was how much they love to compete. And all of them, I mean, the practices, and with Jimmy as being the head coach and stuff, I mean, we worked hard in practices, and the game on Saturday was easier than a lot of the practices that we had against each other. And they just love to compete, the offense, the defense, the special teams, and just that group of guys you just lived and talked about, some of the guys that were there. They are awesome guys. They love to practice and they love to win, and they absolutely love their teammates.
Coach, you've been away from the game a little bit, and you're a lifer. You're probably doing some consultant stuff for people and dabbling in on some stuff here, but do you miss it? I mean, college football is way different now. They didn't have nil back then because now it means now it's legal. So, I mean, that's what nil means to me now, but do you miss it?
Yeah, I do. A certain aspect of it, Dan. I mean, one of the things, obviously, my son is a quarterback coach. He was the wide receivers and tight ends at St. Thomas University in Miami, and they're climbing the ladder. They've only been playing for 5 years, but they got a chance last year. They got into playoffs and NAIA, and maybe they got a chance to win the champion. But this, there's a litany, a lot of guys that played for me. I was blessed. And you want to talk about a coach that's lucky. You're never good unless you have good players. But I had 38 first-round firster, and I had 135 other guys that made it to the NFL. And here's the thing that's crazy about it is they're all coaching now in the NFL or in college. And Damian Lewis, he just took a new job at the University of Colorado. It'd be the defensive line guys. And TJ Yates is the wide receiver coach at the Atlanta Falcons. And we got guys, Ken Dorsey, that was the quarterback for us at the University of Miami. And now he's the offensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns. And so, I love watching them, and any way that I can try to help them with their program and in recruiting. And, they'll call every now and then and they'll say, if we're going to draft this guy, what do we got to try to do and stuff? And one of the guys that was a great offensive line coach for us was Sam Pittman, and he's the head coach at the University of Arkansas, and we go and talk to him. And really, I truly try to help any of the guys that played for me to have really good teams and to try to win.
Coach, was Clint hurt after you or before you?
No,
he's now the D-line coach with the Steelers or with the Eagles. I'm sorry.
You know what? It's a crazy story, Dan. I mean, we recruited him. His father was a police officer in New York City, and he moved out of New York City. And I tried to get Clint to come to University of Miami, and his dad said, "There's no way my son is ever going to be in Miami. There's too much criminal. There's too much this, that, and the other." And I literally met him at a diner, and we talked for about 4 or 5 hours about the University of Miami, the education, how good the teams are, and the kind of the quality of the guys, yourself and all the guys that we had, the Jerome Browns and all those guys, the quality of how they were. And his dad said, "You know what? I'll let my son to go there." And then obviously he came, and he was a great guy. He got hurt, but now he's into coaching and stuff, and he's just an awesome guy.
Yeah, now he's got Jordan Davis, and he's got Jalen Carter now in Philadelphia. And I actually got a call from him, and he goes, because, Coach, there used to be a big deal back in the day when guys would wear numbers. He goes, "Sills, I'm going to wear 93. And I'm like, "Hey, I think it's a great honor that you would ask," and all that. So
let's see. How about 93 here? We got 93. This is just for you,
I like it, Coach. I like it. So that's great that you have.
I thought you were going to be here for practice today, and I was going to put you in the 93,
I love it, Coach, very much so, man. Hey, Coach, let me ask you about Vic Fangio. You know, Dave Wannstedt said this about Vic Fangio. And I don't know what your history is with Vic, but Dave has got a history with him and said, schemes don't win titles. He says ball players, Jimmys and Joes win titles. It's not going to be the scheme of a guy who's been in the NFL for this long. It's been over 40 years, like 4 decades he's been coaching. It comes down to the players. And today's NFL is different, Coach. It's more control and contain than it is getting pressure and being big hit guys. How do you look at a style like Vic Fangio? He's probably going to run that 52, Coach.
Yeah, you know what, though, Dan? I absolutely believe with the idea that championship teams, and I don't care whether it's high school, I don't care if it's college or in the NFL, it's about the character, the work ethic. You can, whether you're 4 wide receivers or 3 tight ends, it doesn't make any difference about what the schemes are. It's how hard you practice and how you try to play. And there's literally the things, and I can go and watch games and stuff, and like, you know, how much does the defense give up big plays? How much do they create turnovers? The defenses, they just do, you know, everybody throws the ball a lot now. I mean, that's a lot of throwing. But if you can't run the football, you can't win. I see teams go out there and they'll throw for 400 yards, but they throw 4 interceptions and they don't play as good and stuff. But I think you can win Super Bowls. I think you can win national championships. If you take a look at like what Alabama has done, I mean, over the last 10, 12, 15 years, they were great on defense. I mean, their defense was awesome. They were excellent on special teams, but they could run the football. They may go out and they may throw for 275 or 300 yards, but when they needed to run the football and eat up the clock and beat the other team, they would do it. And I just think that that's what most of the national good teams do.
Coach, you know, you mentioned toughness and what you guys instilled, and I tell people this. We used to start our practices. Our first 35 minutes would be pursuit drill. People are like, what? Yeah. I go, Coach Davis and Coach Wannstedt and Dave, they throw the ball. And we did that for 35 minutes. Yeah. And I'm going to get to a point here. And then the legendary inside drills we would have. We would just murder each other for a couple hours. And we did that all the time. Coach, how do you create that type of toughness today in college and pro when you're limited? There's no 2-a-days any longer. Yep, you don't have the practice schedule that you're allowed to do. That was one of the formulas for us to be successful. How do you build even technique up when you don't have the time?
Well, you know what, Dan, you guys were awesome. I mean, you think about how hard the practices was. There was no time. I mean, we could go out for 2 hours, 3 hours. It didn't make any difference. And go twice in the same day and go like 10 days or 2-a-days and stuff. And the difference today is you got to really push the players out of the practice. I mean, they've got to lift. They got to do a lot of extra things so that they're in good physical shape to be able to go into games and to be able to play. And I just think that, you know, when you watch college football players today, you know, it's really critically important for them to play their hearts out. I mean, they got to really do it, and they get to do a great deal of being in great education and really in great shape before the season starts. And I'm watching Drew's team here and you know, over the summertime, they're going to summer classes and stuff like that, but they're lifting and they're running and stuff so that they make sure that they're in good shape and stuff to be able to play. But that's the way all the colleges teams have got to be. It's a little bit different, you know.
Coach, for you, when you took over the University of Miami, you had probation. The thing was, I didn't know it would ever come back. And you know what's crazy? Is that I keep hearing people, and I love Mario Cristobal. I know we love him. I got it. I'm a Miami guy, and I'll always be. But I got to say, man, I mean, how did you bring it back, Coach? How did you bring it back to where, when you left, Coach, you left a dynasty? Yeah. I mean, think about it, Coach. And I know you took – look, anybody in their right mind. You know how many people give me shit, Coach, about you taking the Cleveland job? I'm leaving for $18 million. I don't care what anybody says. I'm leaving. Whatever you guys think, I'm leaving. It wasn't like he left for like FSU. I mean, we're talking about a job here, but Coach, I keep getting asked the question, will they ever get back? How did you do it?
You know, it was difficult, Dan. I mean, when I took the job, we'd won 2 Super Bowls with the Dallas Cowboys, and I took the job in 1995. And I really, truly, when I took the job, there was no idea that what was going to happen was going to happen in 1995. And midway in the fall of that season, the first season we went 8-3, but they took to where we couldn't go into bowl games because one of the penalties that they gave to the University of Miami. But here's the thing that absolutely will kill you. If there's 85 scholarship players at that particular time, and they took away 31 scholarships from the University of Miami for the next 3 years. I mean, we had classes. I mean, everybody else is getting 25 and whatever. And obviously, in Miami being a private school, you don't get a lot of walk-ons and stuff. We got a few of them that were pretty good, but we took a class of 12. We took a class of 18 and a class of 13. And in 1997 was the first time of losing season in like 20 years because of what that was. But this is what I'll tell you, and Dan, this is you and all the guys that you played with. The guys that we recruited to come to the University of Miami, they wanted to win. I mean, they had hearts, the Dan Morgans, the Ed Reeds, the Reggie Wayne. I mean, there was a litany of guys that are great, great football players in the NFL, and some have gone into the Hall of Fame. They wanted to win. They wanted to win so bad. And then we went 9-3, and then we went 9-3, and then we went 11-1, and then they went 12-0 and won the national championship. And it was all because of the heart. And you're one of them. The guys that played at that program, they gave their heart to try to win games. I mean, it was, and when Jimmy took that job in 1985, and I was fortunate enough to be able to leave Oklahoma State and come with him, and to be into that deal and to find out what the University of Miami, they love. They want to win. They want to compete. They'll play anybody in America. Let's go play them. Well, when I came back as the head coach, there was people saying, oh, well, you're never going to win any games. Well, we beat UCLA, who was 10-0, and they were undefeated. And the next year, they got a chance to open the season against Ohio State. And everybody saw there's no chance that Miami can beat that. And we won that game again. So we'd beaten UCLA, we'd beaten Ohio State, and you could just see that program was going to climb like it was like when you played there.
Coach, I get asked this, Luther and everybody are asking me to ask you questions like this. And for you, I mean, look, I never, ever, ever, ever begrudged you taking the Cleveland job. I thought it was a natural progression like Dennis and Jimmy. I just thought it was. But did you have any regrets?
Oh, yeah.
At leaving the University of Miami? Because Dennis, I asked him this question, and he said he regretted going to Seattle and leaving Miami behind because he had so many things that he was working with. Did you have regret?
Yeah, absolutely. Dan, to be honest with you, it's hard to say if you had it to do over again to have stayed there and win 2 or 3 national championships and maybe get an NFL job that would maybe be a little bit better at NFL. And I didn't have any idea that Cleveland was going to offer me the job. Jimmy Johnson called me and he said, hey, look, he's been talking to the owners and stuff, and would you talk to them? And to be honest with you, I actually turned the job down in January. I told him no. We met after we beat Florida in the Sugar Bowl, and I met for probably 5 or 6 hours and came back. And then 2 days later, I said, look, you know what? I love it. Thank you very much. But I'm going to stay at the University of Miami. But at the time, and this is a negative thing from my part, is trying to get a contract to be a little bit better as far as the money that was paying, because we were
Miami never paid.
And so, you looked at what Florida was being paid, what Florida State was being paid, and everybody else. And it was like, well, this is not very good. And then all of a sudden, then Cleveland called again. I guess they got turned down from other people, but about a week before the national champion signer dip, they called and said, here's what we will do. We will give you a 5-year contract. And if you get fired in 1 week, you get all the money for 5 years. And so it's like, how could you, when you're sitting there raising your family and your wife and stuff like that, and you got to go, well, maybe we should do that. And then you go in there and, Carmen Policy was an awesome guy. They had won Super Bowls when he was at the San Francisco 49ers, and I was there with him. And, the first year we went 7-9, winning some games. The next year we make it into the playoffs. But unfortunately, the owner, Mr. Lerner, had passed away and he died. And, if I would have had anything better to do at that time was maybe go back to Miami or someplace else.
Coach, do you think that the school still harbors in a way? I know there's different people in there. There's not the same guys, because I still find it hard to believe that Mario hasn't reached out to you yet and asked you about winning. He's asked us about it. And I'm like, well, why don't you ask the architects? And so do you think that there's animosity, or do you think that it's just sometimes coaches want to do it their way, or what? Because, man, if I had Jimmy Johnson and Butch Davis and Ed Ogeron and guys like that, and those kind of coaches that I could just speed dial and ask questions to, I would be calling you and Dave and you know, Don Solinger and Jimmy and all them guys. I'd be calling all them guys on the pipelines and shit and all the things you guys did. You think there's animosity towards you?
There may be, Dan, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously leaving and going to Cleveland, that could have been a negative thing with people in the University of Miami. And then the negative thing was going to North Carolina and beat the University of Miami 3 out
recruiting
of 4 years, and then going to FIU and should have never won, and FIU beats the University of Miami. So I don't know if all of those kind of things maybe made a lot of people negative about whatever, but you know, this is what I can tell you is that I absolutely, the 11 years that I was at the University of Miami, I loved it. I mean, the players that were there, the administrative people at that time, they were awesome. The winning and building a program and stuff, it was a great part of my life and everything. My wife loved it. My son growing up there and stuff. So why I never got a chance to go back, I don't know. That's a question for other people, you know.
I'll tell you something, Coach. People don't realize my GAs were Greg Schiano and Tuberville. These guys were doing bed checks and how great the whole thing was. And I tell people this story all the time. I had a scholarship, and Barry Switzer was on a couple weeks ago. I had a scholarship to go to Oklahoma, but you know them. They have 100,000 guys on scholarship, and they put everybody there, and they never play anybody. And I had one also to LSU.
Yeah.
But I remember because Bernie called, and I said to you, and I picked the phone up, and I go, Butch, I bench 475. I run a 4.8. I do this. He goes like this to me. Tell you what we'll do. I don't have a scholarship right now, but what I'll do is if you come down here and if you show me and you win it, we'll give it to you. Sure enough, they stopped practice. I won my scholarship, and it was one of the truly greatest things in the world to be around you guys and to be the following year I would get to play next with Jerome Brown. And Coach, it was one of the greatest experiences of my life playing for you. I can't. We haven't talked in a long time, and I got to tell you, man. I mean, you saved my life, man. It was one of the. And I love you to death, man.
Well, I love you too, Dan. And one of the things, and you know, people think about a lot of reasons why do teams become champions, and probably some of the most important things is their character, their heart, how much they want to play. You know, it's not running 4.5 or 4.4 and guys that can bench press like you that would bench press 560. That's a big, important thing. It really, truly is. But how much they truly, honest to God, they want to win. And they love their teammates. I mean, if you think about all the guys you played with and the guys that I had the second time there, to this day, they love each other. They see each other. We went to a game last year, and they had everybody on the 1987 national championship deal on the field. And you would see people, the players are there, and how much they love seeing each other again. And that I think has a lot to do with why teams become championships. It's not necessarily about how much they run and lift and stuff like that. How much do they really truly love their teammates?
Coach, I tell you. You know, I get people asking me, and you know, Penn State posted something about Jerome and I. They called us the second coming of salt and pepper because they, you know, it was Matt Millen and Bruce Clark, and they said that even Paterno was like, you two guys. I mean, you know, I still look at our time with me and Jerome. I'm sorry, Coach, but I think me and him, I think we set the tempo at that place. And what it was, I remember you with a film showing the Cowboy guys what the 3 technique in our old Kings G defense was. Absolutely. I remember this. Well, I'm sitting in a meeting with you, and here's Tutal go like this to me. Hey, you see that thing Sileo's doing? That's what I want to do. You go like this to me. It's not bad. And I go, but Coach, that was just so great playing like that with you and all them guys, especially with Jerome.
Well, it was awesome. And Jerome, you know, people don't know much about how, they know what a great player he was, how much he cheered from the sidelines. I mean, there's some great stories about him in games. And one of the things when I do a presentation, sometimes I talk about the deal. If you remember what he did against West Virginia, and he had been hurt the week before against Cincinnati, and he was like he couldn't hardly walk on his foot, and he took a shot in his big toe and stuff like that, and he came out and honest to God, I think West Virginia was like number 3 in the country. They were 7-0, and we were like 6-0, and we were like number 5 or 6. And in that game, Dan, and you remember this, he went out there, and in the first quarter, he had like 2 sacks. He forced a fumble, had 2 or 3 tackles behind the line of scrimmage and stuff. And we were ahead 28-0. Yes. And he's running by on the sidelines. He takes his helmet off and he throws it to me. And he says, "I'll see you on the bus later on." And we won 56-0 or some deal like that. But that's Jerome Brown.
Coach, I'll tell you something, man. I remember I was so pissed off in that game because the amount of work that we had done for that game, it was like the first quarter, we're up 28-0. You start yanking us out. I'm like, wait a minute. There's like 8 hours of practice and mid-side drill. You're going to take me out and put Ernie Perry? Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, man, I hated that. But, yeah, man, no, that was – and, Coach, you know, all those coaches that used to show up and watch us practice and play like that too, man. I mean, I tell people, you'll never see anything like that again. And how about, I even asked Ed Ogeron when he was the head coach at LSU this question. I go, do you think those Alabama teams could beat our Miami teams back in the 80s? He goes, no way.
Yeah.
No way. We were just too – how'd you get all those guys in there like that, Coach?
Yeah, the recruiting, I think when you go out to get guys to come to a program, they want to be someplace that the program is going to really help them, one, get a great education, and also to get into the NFL and to win games. And every guy, whether it's you and everybody else that you played with and all the decades after that, that's the kind of things that they really, wanted to try to do, is they wanted to be in a great program. And you just go through and you look at all those guys. I mean, you played with Danny Stubbs and Greg Mork and all those defensive line guys and, Winston Moss and all the guys. I mean, there were some great players. But and this is the thing that you just want to sell people about. They really cared about each other. Yep. I mean, they loved the guys on their team, and they would give their soul away to try to win games and to make their teams better. Absolutely.
Still, Coach, I want to show you something here. By the way, folks, those are all the game balls back there. I got 5 of them that Jimmy and Butch gave me. Florida State, Pitt. No Pitt, because that's the only time I told Dave. I tell the story on Dave. So get this, folks. We beat Pitt like 38-6. I have a pretty good game. I get hurt in that game, but this is after the game. We're sitting there, Jerome's sitting next to me, and all of a sudden, Dave Wonstadt comes in, and we have all the Gatorade cups on a table here. Dave comes walking in and he flips that up and he goes, you gave up 200 yards to Iron. Iron is a pretty good ball player too, man. You gave up that. I looked at Jerome and I go, we did win 38-3, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, there was a high resolution of where you wanted to be,
Hey, absolutely. Yep. But I remember nobody wanted to get off the bus in the rain and the cold in Pittsburgh. That's what it was.
That's the truth.
But Coach, I got this. I want to show it to you. It's the very first training camp that you guys went to and I went to in Thousand Oaks. And I'm wondering for you, when you made that transition from Miami to go to the pros, how daunting was that? All of a sudden, you're in the room, and I'm thinking you had to tell Randy, this ain't going to be for older dudes.
Yeah.
So if you're not ready to play, which he ended up retiring, I remember in minicamp, because he was out there with us a little bit in minicamp, and a lot of the guys left. I thought my Miami team could have beat that team that year. That's how bad they were. How daunting of a challenge was that for you when you rolled into Thousand Oaks, when you had to take on that job?
Danny, it's a great question to ask that, because obviously, I mean, Jimmy did a great job because he took his staff from the University of Miami to that. kept some of the staff that was already on the Cowboys that had been in the NFL, but a high percentage, me and Dave Wanstead, Dave Campo, and a lot of the guys, Joe Brodsky, the running back coach, nobody had coached the NFL.
Coach Axe.
Yeah, and Hubbard Alexander, I mean, all of those things. And this is one of the things, I promise you, Dan, that really helped me. Ed Too Tall Jones was I was 37 years old, and I think he was either 38 or 39, and he was still playing. And he had been in the league for like 16 years or whatever. And I will swear to God that he helped me, that after we'd meet at nighttime and put into installation what we're going to do in practice, and then I would keep him after practice, and I just picked his brain, and I said, what should we do with defensive line guys in the National Football League and yourself? And because he played they'd won 3 Super Bowls, and he was, and honest to God, he really truly helped me make that transition from college into the NFL about what do you do to be with the guys that you're going to coach. And he really, truly helped me, and I'm grateful for that. And then obviously as we started adding more players and more guys that could actually play in the draft and stuff, but, he was awesome. And I was very grateful because that first year, you remember this with Jimmy, I mean, we were 1-15.
Yeah,
we just like playing for national championships like 3 or 4 years, and now all of a sudden we're 1-15. It's like, oh Lordy, they're going to try to fire all of us,
Hey, I remember telling Troy Aikman this, Coach. I remember, we went to a steakhouse. Crawford Kerr, me, him, and Daryl Johnson, and you guys had drafted Steve Walsh, and I love Steve Walsh. No, not gonna say anything negative about him. Love him to death. He's a brother, okay. And I remember Aikman going, "Oh, he drafted your boy." I go, "Hey, hang on here. You think Jimmy Johnson gives a shit whether he's your boy or not?" Let me tell you about these coaches here, man. These guys only care about one thing. That's winning. They don't care about nothing else about boys. They love us, but I'm telling you, it was more about winning. And I think I told Troy this. I said, Troy, you're the toughest coach, or you're the toughest player Jimmy Johnson's ever had. And he goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "Well, you turned him down at Oklahoma State. You turned him down when you were going to transfer from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when you got there, the old staff was really the guy to put you in place." And he goes, "I never thought of that." And so Troy and all that, he thought too. He goes, "Yeah, well, today, him and Jimmy Johnson are as close as you can ever imagine." Coach, I got to tell you one last story. There's 2 stories here that I want to tell you before we go. So I tell people this all the time. My wife, my girlfriend, who is now my wife, we saw Butch Davis in a grocery store. This is the last time I saw Butch. And folks, you got to remember something. Dan Sileo could only be coached by the Jimmy Johnson, Butch Davis staff because I'm a lunatic. And so Butch is in there. He turns and looks at me, and he makes a beeline for me. I thought we were going to – he goes, "You talked yourself off this goddamn team. You did it. You should have been on this thing." And I'm going like, my girlfriend's looking at me, and she goes, "You talked yourself. Dude, seriously, you got hurt. You should have stayed hurt. Everything would have been great." And I went, and my girlfriend goes like this, "You love that guy?" I go, to tears. Coach, that's the last time I saw you was in that grocery store, but you read me the riot act going, "Keep your mouth shut, kid." You know that because I remember you going like this, "God dang it, Dan. Keep your mouth shut. I'm trying to help you in here." This was team, but God, those team meetings were so fun. And Coach, I could go on with you forever. You saved my life, man. I just love playing with you, and I really did. I don't know what else.
Here's the main thing, Dan, and I swear to God, this is the truth. My life is because of my wife, Tammy, okay, my son, Drew, and the kids that I coached for 45 years. You love them. I mean, the things that you help them get in educations, their careers, they get into the NFL. When the NFL's out of it, how do they get jobs and stuff like that? And as a real legitimate coach, it's really about how do you help your kids? And it's still this day. I mean, it's like, how do you help them for the rest of your life and the rest of their lives?
How's Tammy's health?
She's doing good. Yeah. she's got a little bit of an issue with an uncle that's not feeling good, and he's up in Tampa and everything. So we'll probably be going up. We went on the weekend, and he's a great guy, and he helped raise her, and so it's very important. As you well know, I mean, family is so important, and so we say a quick prayer for her to make sure that he's okay.
What kind of coach is this kid, Drew, of yours?
Yeah, he's good. He's a wide receiver for a while, and then he coached the tight ends, and now he's coaching the quarterbacks and stuff. And they made it at St. Thomas University, so that they've only started 5 years ago. And Drew started here. He was with me at FIU, and he was in the top recruiters at FIU and stuff. But since the first year they were here, they had a good winning season. They were 9-2, but they didn't make the playoffs. Last year, they made it into the national championship playoffs. They won the first game, and then they lost the second game, and the team that they lost to won the national championship. And so they're climbing the ladder. I mean, it's a lot like what we did, at Dallas and Miami and all the places. You build it just a little bit better. And Drew's, he's he's an unbelievably great coach, and cheering for him to keep climbing the ladder.
Well, Coach, thank you so much. It's been great to catch up with you. I mean, you, Dave, Tony Weiss, Jimmy, of course. I mean, Jimmy never says no to me. I mean, even though I break his stone, I still break his stones still to this day. I mean, you know me, Coach. Coach, really, I haven't changed all that much.
No.
I really haven't. But, I'm going on 60, but I'm probably going on still 22. So I mean,
well, you're awesome.
Thank you so much for all you did for me, Coach.
Well, I love you, and it's great to talk to you. And next time we get a chance, hopefully it's sooner.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Love you,
Coach, you tell Drew and Tammy I said hi, and thank you so much, Coach.
You got it, buddy.
You bet. The great Butch Davis. Love the man so much. Absolutely do. It was one of the greatest times of my entire life being down there at the University of Miami. All right, guys, we're going to take a timeout. Do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Xander's going to join us in the next segment. We'll reset Eagles and coming up against the New England Patriots. That'll be on Thursday. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your green house? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
the greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Get Sales National Football Show. Please hit the like button. You guys were great. I appreciate that. And yeah, you have to understand something about my relationship with Butch Davis. Yeah, man, I wasn't in a good place in my life when I went to Miami. I'd just been thrown out of Maryland. And my aunt will hate when I say this. I threw a guy out of a window, out of a first-story building. And there weren't a lot of schools that were going to give Dan Sileo a chance to have a scholarship after throwing a guy out of a window. I was a very angry kid back in the day, man. I'm more of a pacifist now. But, hey, first question I got when I got down to Miami goes, "You threw a guy out a window?" He goes, "Why?" I go, "This is really the stupidest thing of all time." I was talking to a guy's girl, of course. And the guy goes, "That's my girlfriend." I went, "Well, not tonight. She's not." hey, Big Sills wasn't really, well, I guess like the show, I wasn't for the faint of heart. What did the guy say? He really didn't say anything. He just put his hands on me and I threw him and his three buddies out the and Bobby Ross from Maryland threw me out for that. My aunt and my grandmother went up and cried for me, but I did throw a couple guys out of a window. Not proud of it. I'm not proud of it, but all right, let's move on. Let's move on to Xander Krause here, part of the Birds 365 in the morning. Him and Johnny do a great job. Johnny Mac. And boy, I'll tell you what, when I was listening this morning, man, wow, that organized team practice, man. The pass rush showed up. I was like, damn, okay, that was all good there, man. How you doing there, Xander?
Big Sills, good to be here, brother. I missed most of the beginning of the show here, so you're gonna have to give me a fast right. Recap, a fast synopsis of where Big Sills' mind has been today.
Okay, well, do you think you're going to get more out of the formaldehyde jar, petri dish, joint practice that you had on Tuesday? Or do you think you're going to get more of what you're going to be looking at in a game tempo type situation with your defense tomorrow night?
I think the petri dish will win out.
The petri dish wins out.
I do. I don't think they're going to play these starters tomorrow.
No, I think you're going to play the defensive guys.
We'll see. I mean, I think it's a little bit different with the defensive guys with Vic Fangio, but I don't know. Who you thinking? Everybody?
Oh, I think they're going to play Huff and Smith. I don't know how many times they're going to play Jalen Carter in there, but dude, you got to find your linebacking core.
Yeah. Look, I think all the linebackers should play. No doubt. I mean, look, if you're a starter or you're Jalen Carter or even Bryce Huff, I mean, we have questions on it, but he's going to be the starting edge rusher.
Oh, yes.
If you're one of those guys and you're proven and you're locked in, then I agree. They probably don't need to take the field. If you're the linebacking core and there's 6 of you rotating right now through the first 12 practices, no doubt about it. But I think Nakobe Dean's is now making the push to the first team. He's been more instinctive than the other guys. And look, that matters in linebacker.
From the formaldehyde jar, okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, we'll see. He looked good in the preseason game. He looked solid out there. I know he wasn't playing versus the top guys, but he did look okay out there. And I think Trotter Jr. is emerging fast. I mean, John's not ready to say he's going to be the starter yet, but he keeps saying by week 6, and I'm like,
no way, week 6. I want to see him tomorrow night. If he makes a push tomorrow night, Xander, and he looks better, I'm getting him reps in that Packer game.
I'm with you. No doubt about it. So we'll see what they end up doing. But, yeah, you're right. Maybe those guys will play.
Okay, well, let's do this so far. with the joint practice and what you saw last week against the Ravens, let me put, are you still willing to say this, or have you upgraded this take? Because here's mine still. Questionable edge rushers. Your defensive tackles, in my opinion, are maybe the best young duo of young tackles that you have in the league. I mean, especially in the NFC, Xander. Yeah. Your linebacking core is not very good. And if you're going to rely, Xander, on your safety position to be this as of now, an injured Avonte Maddox and an injured C.J. Garner and Reed Blankenship, an older corner, and a questionable guy who hasn't played in a year in youth over on the other side, that's who you are. Are you willing to upgrade, or do you think that's still your question marks on where you are right now as a defense?
I feel a little bit better about the defensive line. I know I still have questions on the edge, but I think as a unit, they're going to be tough to deal with. You heard them. They kind of throttled the Patriots around that offensive line. There was one.
They're a 2-win team, though, dude.
Yeah, but they're still NFL guys. So,
I get that. I really do. But that's like the third worst. And listen, I think those reps were important for Trotter, for Quignon, for guys like that who hadn't seen game action. But, dude, to put that in perspective, to get pass rushes versus the worst OTs.
No, I know. You're right. You want to compare yourself with the best, not with the worst. And
like the Packers.
Yeah, look, I understand it, but you can only play who's in front of you, and they throttled them. So
that's why. Well, wait a minute. We'll see if they throttle them tomorrow night in the game.
Well, they're not going to play at all.
Okay, so you're really comfortable with a?
I'm not comfortable.
With
I wouldn't do it
with a joint controlled practice versus a game scenario where you're communicating on the field. Remember something also in this here, Xander. When you're in a joint practice, you get to stop the play and coach. When you're in a game tomorrow night, there's no coaching. That coaching comes the next day. You don't get a chance to stop and go, you missed that technique. The technique is right with your right foot forward, and when the guard pulls, you got to get flat down on them. You can't do that on Thursday night. You got to play the next play. So I want to see how they look as a unit tomorrow night.
Yeah, look, my point is back to the question, though. I do believe that defensive line might be a little bit better than we're thinking when you add in all components together. I don't think you have, I think the sum of its parts is what will make it great. Bryce Huff's going to have space off the edge. You know why? Because they got to deal with Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, and Milton Williams in the middle. That's going to eat up 3-4 offensive linemen right there. So I think that's what's going to be hard to deal with. From all the other positions, though, that you pointed out, I think the safety is a big concern. I don't know why, but I don't feel concerned about the cornerbacks. I just feel like you have good talent there that's going to turn the corner at some point this year. I don't think they're going to be our Achilles heel. The linebackers are tough. I mean, I don't know what to.
Would you rather have talent or experience at corner?
Well, I think you have the fusion of the two will be our ideal world. And
you don't have experience at the corner. You have only one corner with experience.
Right. So you have Slay and you have Quignon. It's the tale of two. You have the 12-year veteran and the rookie, And
remember something about Isaiah. He didn't get a lot of snaps over there at corner.
No,
he was a special team
good. But yeah, he didn't. You're right.
Okay, so
Mr. International calls me out. He says that's a political answer.
You guys think Shipley could get more reps at the slot? His hands are better than Anus, and he's faster than any Wilson. I'll say this. I think anybody who gets reps in the slot, I think it'll be Devontae or AJ. And it'll be the third wide receiver. By the way, I think they make a move there, wide receiver 3, Xander. I don't think you have the guy on the team. Now, again, I don't think it's a big move, but I think it's going to be looking for a competent move. What do you feel confident with? Paris Campbell?
Yeah, well, here's the problem, and I've been debating this with John, talking about it with John. There's two things you have to solve with the wide receiver 3. One, you need a guy that can play the slot or can be the third wide receiver that's going to get 2-3 targets a game, maybe, right? 30 to 40 targets on the year. I think that's right about what it's going to be when you have guys like Devontae, AJ.
There were 35 catches total last year there.
Exactly. So I think that's where it is. So, in that role, I think Paris Campbell, Johnny Wilson, Covey, I think they're okay for that. I think where you have the issue is the backup wideout. Now, if AJ goes down, if Devontae goes down, Are you putting Johnny Wilson on the outside? Are you, and that's what John keeps bringing up, that you need more depth for that reason. And you're trying to kind of thread the needle with a guy that can do both, who can play wide receiver 3 and play the outside, but they don't necessarily have that right now. And I think I don't, here's my problem. You think they're going to send a draft pick for a guy that gets 30 targets a year?
No.
So where are they going?
Wait for a cut.
Wait for a cut. I mean, there's guys out there. Juju.
Yeah, no, there'll be somebody cut.
Yeah, Juju Smith-Schuster. I think he's out there. I forget who else. There's a couple other guys that are out there that maybe they would. Yeah, Hunter Renfrow. He's a slot only guy. He's not playing any outside, but yeah, maybe. I mean, look, we'll see. I don't think how he could for sure. He's done it in the past. You remember a couple years ago, he signed Steven Nelson. That was like August 28th. Even when he got Bradbury, it was late in August. So he's still looking, I'm sure. I just don't know if that would be the position he would make the move at when you consider that the offense is stacked. The defense is the one that needs more help.
Oh, absolutely. There was a couple comments made about Kellen and Jalen today. I want to get your opinion on. And by the way, J.C. Kelsey was on a podcast. I want to throw some of the things off of you and see if you think that they've been rectified here. And let me get what Slay's comment was, because I thought it was really interesting. And this goes to our point, and sometimes when you and I go back and forth on this here with the organization, Slay said this, that Kellen Moore is making Jalen Hurts a smarter ball player. And he said it, he goes, you can see it every day. He's becoming a smarter and smarter ball player. How can you go from one extreme, Xander, where you didn't help your quarterback at all get better, to now you've got a guy in the building that you're hearing people say it's so noticeable that Hurts is doing things that he's never done, even under Shane Steichen, that you may turn out to be right, Xander, that this is the perfect fit, because if you're hearing this, he's smarter. He sees the landmarks in the secondary better. He's reading the defenses better. You got to tell you, man, why haven't you done this from day one?
Sills, he's now in a pro-style offense, too. You forgot the biggest part of it. He's now in a pro-style offense where we technically, Sills, and I know you're not going to be a fan of this comment, but this is the truth. We technically don't know what the ceiling of Jalen Hurts is yet. We saw him at his best in 22 in an offense that was here today and gone tomorrow. It was an RPO-based offense, and it's not sustainable in the NFL for a 5, 10, 12-year career. And now you have Kellen Moore, who has Jalen Hurts running a more traditional style of offense. I'm not sure, by the way, if you caught, who was it? Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata on the Greenlight podcast with Chris Long. So Jordan Mailata went in depth about Kellen Moore and how he's created opportunity for Jalen Hurts to read and pick up blitzes and defensive coverages easier. Now, I'm not smart enough to know what exactly that means. I don't know the playbooks. I don't understand.
Tanner McKee said it the other day, Xander, that, when you see the motion creates those landmarks for the quarterback to see. And he said it at the press conference.
Which is what we debated. I debated John on this exact thing. John told me I was crazy.
Lane Johnson's telling you the same thing I'm telling you, and when Tanner was telling you too, he moves that motion over so that the quarterback can see his key. Free comes over, strong comes down, linebacker gets width. Those are all landmarks for you to know pre-snap read where you're going to throw the ball.
Which is arguably Jalen's biggest deficiency to date. Everybody gets mad at some of the rollouts and things that Jalen didn't do well last year. Well, a lot of that is compounded by, him struggling to pick up the blitz and read the defense. Now, if he knows that, and now you have a coach that has him in a pro-style offense, and you have a quarterback that's willing to work the way Jalen Hurts has proven he's willing to work. I mean, look, I've been saying it all summer. I think this could be a scary good version of Jalen Hurts, and it could just be getting started. He could be getting better and better and better. And the ceiling that we once envisioned for Jalen Hurts could essentially be shattered because we were expecting an RPO quarterback for life. Now you got him in a pro style. He still has the benefit of the legs. He still has all of the other things he has in his skill set. And you're going to have him get better at reading defenses, get better in pocket awareness and pocket presence. I mean, this is a quarterback that could really take a big stride forward. I'm not saying he's gonna. He has to do it, but the table is set for him to really take off this year. And that's why, boy, I hope they can figure out a way to keep Kellen Moore here, because if it does work like I'm laying out, like I'm hoping it will, Kellen Moore is going to be a hot commodity, and you're not going to want to let him go. I wouldn't want to let him go.
So you're saying that Jalen, you envision him being a better version of Dak who protects the ball more?
Well, I'm saying this is going to be our first
Dak
look.
throws for about 4,400 a year and 33 touchdowns.
I love Prince. Prince was hilarious this
Prince
morning.
Is a dick.
He said, "Read my super chat, bitch." Xander, you sound like him. LOL. Preach. Thank you, Prince. Appreciate you, brother. He was on break.
Right. Prince kissed my ass.
He was kicking John's ass this morning too. It's not just you. Prince takes no prisoners. But look, I think it's going to be a great thing. I don't know if I would say I think he's going to be Dak. I just think he's going to be a different version of Jalen this year, a version we haven't seen yet. And I think he's got the right coach to do it. A guy that has had 2 number 1 offenses in a short tenure, 5 or 6 year career as offensive coordinator, whatever it's been. And I think I think he could match up with Jalen, understand that skill set, and really take it to the next level. I'm optimistic. I know that. I'm being an optimist. I understand that. He has to do it still. But when you think about the change that Jalen Hurts has made and what you've seen from camp and him taking the underneath stuff, Sills, I know you have your gripes with him as a quarterback and the style and everything, but this could be a guy that really turns into a tremendous football player.
I want to say one thing about a comment that I did hear John McMullen make. John McMullen made a comment about they want to see Jalen. He'd like to see Jalen throw, more explosion plays down the field. And I'm like, wait a minute. There's a guy in New England that is the all-time leading passer in yards, postseason and regular season, and has 6 rings, 7 total, by checkdowns. It's not about explosion plays. You know what it is? It's about high percentage plays that win Super Bowls. And on top of that, Xander, here's what John wants. Say you start a series out, you run the ball a couple times, get a couple first downs, and all of a sudden you try for a home run on first down, then you're 2nd and 10. Barkley gets knocked behind the line of scrimmage or gains 2 yards, you're 3rd and 8. You punt. You give the ball back to Jordan Love on his 40-yard line because you punted the ball. That's not what that defense needs in September. That defense needs a controlled offense,
time of possession,
in my opinion, to be able to get that thing to right by week 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there. You can't afford deep passes early on in the year. I'm not saying don't take shots, but I'm saying you need to have ball control. You need to have time of possession and field position to save that defense while it gets reps, gets more mature, more playing time. Don't force feed it like you did last year, because you know what? The defense never matured.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you have the conversation and then you think back on the conversation and you're like, damn, why didn't I think of that? Because that's such a good point. And it wasn't really a debate between John and I. It was more of him explaining that he doesn't want to see them completely neuter Jalen Hurts and take away, part of what made Hurts great was everything closes down around him. He can sneak outside the pocket and make a deep throw, and you can't quantify that, right? You can't measure that. And I think John's concern was more with, are they going to check it down so much that Jalen doesn't do any of that? And that's his concern. But when you say that, you're correct. I mean, what would you rather have? Those plays here and there, or a consistent offense that can take you all the way? And I think that's where
my defense at 55 reps instead of 70 reps.
Exactly. That would be huge. That's so important too. With the defense this young and this, questionable, that is so important. So it's a good point. I mean, it's one of those things I wish I said to John in the moment where, you got to control the clock like you just laid out. And this is the best way to do it. Keep your offense on the field. And like you said, you want big plays or you want high percentage plays. High percentage plays is how Brady made his money.
High percentage plays is low turnover plays.
True. Now, I don't think Jalen has a turnover problem. He did last year, but
because they were tough throws.
Yeah, he was throwing the long ball all over the
Get
place.
this. I've never seen a quarterback. Okay, Jalen Hurts is the only quarterback I've ever seen complete for 3,800 yards with no check down game and no screen game. I've never seen that. All you're asking them to do is throw 15 ins and outs, and they didn't throw across the middle of the field. So Xander, if I'm putting a banjo defense or I'm putting a nickel defense package, defend the numbers. He won't go to the middle of the field. Tight ends out. You're asking him, and you're creating such tough passes for him. That's why when people go like this to me and they say, "Does it really matter who wide receiver 3 is?" Yes. Everybody has to be an option for it to work. You can't go into a game, Xander, 10 versus 11 and just innate that. That position has to have some quality to it. Like you said, not volume, but it has to have quality to it. That a defender and the key coordinator goes, they do run a jet sweep out of this. That guy coming out of the slot, whipping around the corner. You want to be able to go and have something to defend. That's why the offense that he's putting out there, the thing that I've been impressed with Kellen is that everyone's an option.
No doubt.
Everyone's
no doubt
an
about
option.
that. And I think that's
created really a lot of good things there.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing for Jalen, by the way. But no, what you just laid out is spot on. That's Big Sills at his best, everybody, laying it out for you, how football is played and how to do it the right way. That's good stuff. But look, I mean, you see what I'm saying with the upside to Hurts, right? Yep. I mean, I do have some fears that, maybe with his style, I know check down Charlie worked for Tom Brady, but will it work for a guy like Jalen who has a different skill set? I know, and that's where I'm like, I'm wrong. I'm fine to be wrong.
Devontae, though, Xander, watch this. When you have Devontae Smith and you have A.J. Brown, the check down game is so essential. Why? I, as a coordinator, am not going to give up the plus 25 play because why? They have 2 plus 25 guys who are capable of getting it at any moment on the field. What do you create? Space. You create underneath. That's exactly what Fangio is going to have to fight this year. Why? Because he plays that control and contain. Guys are going to complete passes. Why can't that be Jalen too?
Yeah,
because
you're right.
You know what? Look, I've got those 2 guys on the outside numbers. Dude, my underneath game has to be open because I have to defend those guys.
Right. That's so true. That's really beautifully said. You can't frame it up any better than that. That's the reason for why this could be so lethally good, because remember, you're not just throwing to, regular guys either.
No,
you got some of the best talents in the NFL over there.
You probably have the 3rd best, some argue the 2nd or 3rd best receiver, and maybe the 6th or 7th best receiver in the league. Use them as decoys too in your screen game. Okay,
and that's where that's where adding Saquon gets crazy.
Can't just be a nothing giveaway. It's got to be competent. That's what I mean by that. By the way, let me slide over this. So Kelsey was on a podcast. And by the way, I'm framing it this way, just so that we know where we were and where we're going. This is not to harp on 23 in any way, Xander. This is to see where we're going here. And first off, you asked a great question the other day. I forget what it was, what the context was, but you went the timing.
Must have been a great question.
The timing of the story that came out. What was that one story that the timing you questioned?
Yeah, the McManus story. John got very upset with me for questioning that timing.
Okay. How about this timing? So all of a sudden, Jason Kelsey did a show yesterday, and he was asked point blank what he thought went wrong. He said, well, the 2 coordinators just did not work, and it wasn't. Nobody really was ever on the same page. And the coordinators, for whatever reason, it just didn't work. Now, Jason Kelsey has a key fob. Now, I'm wondering, wow, somebody obviously wanted this out. Let me continue here and get your take on it all. There was asked another question. He goes, we just didn't have the cohesiveness between coaches and players, the players in the field from 22 to 23. I think they're in a better place right now, just being around the guys. He said this. How about this one? Last year, the offense, instead of becoming more complex, became more simplified. We went from being a really kind of an offense that was starting to evolve into something to where all of a sudden we got so simple that it just didn't work and people were figuring us out. And he goes, on the other hand, our defense got more complex. And he said we were throwing more things out that guys were not understanding what was being asked of them, like Reddick dropping in coverage, what have you, throwing only to the numbers. What a dynamic. To me, it should have been reversed. You should have expanded the offense and simplified the defense.
Yeah.
That, in my opinion, was the mistake they made in 23.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, that would it does. It sounds backwards. And maybe Kelsey's spot on. Maybe that is why, the team sputtered so late last year so badly. They just couldn't figure it out, and that's part of it. Back to the first comment though. It does seem like they really want everybody to think that the coordinators were the whole problem. Now maybe they were. Listen, maybe they were the problem, because when you lay it out like that from a football guy, it makes sense, and you saw that. That's what you saw. You saw a simplified offense, which didn't work, and you saw a complex defense, which didn't work. So that makes sense. But boy, it does seem like they're throwing everything at the coordinators, and those are the only guys out of the room. So they're not going to have Kelsey go up and say, "Oh, Nick Sirianni didn't lead us properly." He's still in the room. They can't do that. They can't undermine the guy they kept. So I'm not saying that it was Nick. I think it makes sense that it was the coordinators, but I don't want to be naive to that. The Eagles are obviously good with those narratives, not so much the other way. They're not going to put it on Jalen. They're not going to put it on Nick. They're not going to put it on Howie. There's two guys that got fired. Sure, it was all their fault. I mean, look, I think it was their fault. I'm just saying you don't want to be too jaded one way or the other. That you could view that as a jaded point of view.
Well, I told you the other day when that ESP put that out, Nick Sirianni's having a great camp, and then followed up with a Howard Eskin tweet. Now you got Jason Kelsey out there mentioning everybody sucked at the coordinator position but the head coach, and the head coach was never mentioned in that interview whatsoever. It to me looks like the Eagles wanted out that, hey, Nick wasn't really responsible for this, and it was other folks, or at least they want to give that impression that Nick was not responsible for this. And you know how this can all go away, Xander? If Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore have a great year and Nick is the CEO, I hate to say this to you, dude, but Kellen Moore will not be here as a coach next year. But Nick Sirianni will. They're not going to let a guy who brings a team to 2 NFC championship games.
You're right. Yeah,
and
why would
playoffs.
Why would they?
They're not going to fire him.
No, they're not. They're not. No, you're right. I mean, look, that's the fear, right? Is that you get into this and Kellen Moore works so good, it's almost too good, and he's hired away. But that's the NFL. So I think, Jalen also, that was one comment that Jalen made that I didn't like, where he's like, "Oh, it's too much of a revolving door." And I'm like, listen, that's life when you're a good team.
And that's life in Philly.
If you want stability, then suck every year. I guarantee you nobody will hire your coaches away. You'll get fired every 3 years. But other than that, if you're a great team and you have great coordinators that are innovative and are pushing the game forward, they're going to get hired. So unless you have a setup like Andy Reid, where you lose Bieniemy and it doesn't really matter, or you have a Kyle Shanahan, you're gonna have people moving in and out. So hopefully Jalen knows that and he can get ahead of it. Look, this is a great offense. This works for me. This is great. And then the next coordinator that comes in, it's not just like, "Hey, do whatever you want and I'll listen." It's, "This is what works for me. This is what made me a good quarterback. This is what helped me read a defense. This is what I thought we should have done more of." And then you can kind of have that cohesiveness with a new coordinator. I know it's a new guy and he's got to call the plays, but you got to create some sort of, there has to be a common denominator that's here, right? If it's not going to be the coordinator, it's going to be the quarterback.
Yeah.
So he needs to take more control. And I think you're seeing a Jalen that understands that. And that's why he's been so, the way he's been. That's why he said the things he said. Maybe the whole 95% comment, maybe that was premeditated. Why Hurts, I'm going to reset these expectations. I'm going to reset everything, and I'm building this up my way. And I think Kellen's doing a good job helping him. But I think he knows that, and that might be what you see this year.
You got a couple more comments?
Yeah, I got a couple more minutes for sure.
All right, let me throw this at you here. And tell me I'm freaking out of my mind with this take on Kelsey. Just tell me I'm out of my mind. Brandon Graham says this, that Jalen Hurts is more comfortable this year. He improved the view of his life better. He sees the team. He's grabbed control of the team more, and he just seems more comfortable this year than any time since he's been in Philadelphia. Do you think that's because Kelsey's no longer on that football team? You know what Kelsey also said about himself? He said that I played poorly at any time in my career in the last 5 games of the year, and it was the worst 5-game stretch of my career that I had was last year, and he did not play well. And by the way, that's when the most hits on the quarterback and the blitzes came, was at the end of the season. Maybe Jalen was seeing something different that Kelsey was seeing, and those guys were just not on the same page. So my question to you would be, and again, not a rip on Jason, but is it possible that Jalen now feels for the first time this is his football team?
I don't think a possible is the right word. I think it's 100% real. I mean, how could you not? That's just human element, right? I mean, you have Kelsey. You come in, Kelsey's a molded center. You're not helping him become a guy. He's the leader. He's the guy that had the parade speech in the Mummers outfit. He is Philly, and as a quarterback who comes in and becomes the face of the franchise, you have to mesh into that versus you're the maker of your clay, where you can mold like Cam Jurgens. Jalen Hurts is going to have an impact on the way he becomes the center of this team. He can't do that with Jason Kelsey. Jason Kelsey is in his ways. He's going to snap the ball the way Kelsey snaps the ball. He's going to be the center. He's going to call the protections the way he wants to. Now, you take that, again, I don't view it as a knock on Kelsey. I just view it as a real part of the game where Jalen is now opened up, like you said, not only as a leader, but as a football player. I can put my stamp on this team more so now than I ever could have in the past with a guy like Kelsey, who was the unspoken leader of the offense. And I think it's a great point. I don't think it's a knock on Kelsey.
No.
I think it's a real, I think it's a real
It's
thing.
a passing of the baton.
Exactly. And I think that matters. And that's where I think Kelsey sees it too. I think Kelsey's smart enough to see that, where I'm great and I'm loved and I'm revered here, but it's also time for me to let this young man shine, and let him take over this football team, because that's what's best for him. That's what's best for the team. And I think Kelsey could view it that way too. So I don't want people to think we're knocking Jason.
No,
I don't think
absolutely
we're knocking
not.
Jason up. I think you bring up a really good point. I think, part of the comments of Jalen looks better, more comfortable here. They must go into that. This finally feels like it's his football team and nobody else's. It's him.
He shared it. He shared it.
Exactly.
Shared it with Fletcher Cox. He shared it with Graham. He shared it with Kelsey. He shared it with everyone. And now the football team is his, dude.
I think namely Kelsey's the number one guy there, though.
Yeah.
Just because of the
not a rip. Not a rip.
Exactly. It's not a rip. It's now he's the leader. He's the guy. And he's the architect of this team fully. And I view that as a good thing. I think that's I think overall, that's what you want. I mean, we just talked about Tom Brady a little bit ago, and I hate to compare anybody to Tom Brady, but was anybody telling Tom Brady how to conduct business? No. They were all, he got to Tampa Bay and everybody said, Brady, you say jump, I'll say how high. That was the aura that Brady had. You want Jalen to build that. That's a confidence thing.
I want Brady to be in that. I mean, I want Hurts to be like it's a great point. And anytime people, they go so far over the other edge, when you make a comparison to Tom Brady, you're not talking about Tom Brady. What you're talking about is the blueprint to Tom Brady. Okay? Just because you have a blueprint
you're not comparing
doesn't mean you're going to execute it the same way. But that blueprint will show you how to get down the yellow brick road. That's what that blueprint is. Xander, there's a game plan to everything in life. You just don't wing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And listen,
Brady
walked up to the line and he saw something different than the center. I guarantee you Tom Brady was trusting his gut over the centers. I don't care who they were.
Absolutely.
So I think Jalen almost feels freedom in a way, where I can go with what I see. I can try. I don't have to be not second guess, but when you hear it from Jason, it's like, I can't go against Jason, And by the way, this is, I would dispute this as this isn't what we're saying at all. JK says too much knowledge and leadership is never the problem. I don't believe that we're saying that's the problem at all. I just think we're pointing out a shift that's happened with the team this year where Jalen is now taking the reins. Jalen is the undisputed leader. Not that he wasn't in the past, but as Sil said, you can't overcome the shadow of Jason Kelce. No. You just can't. The guy stood at the Rocky steps in a mummer's outfit and paraded us on our first Super Bowl ring.
How about this? How about Xander? If there's a problem on the team and we have a losing streak, I'm not looking at Jalen. I'm looking at Kelce. Now I'm looking at Jalen.
Yeah. I wonder. Good point, by the way, last year. Everybody's like, where was the leadership? Where was Kelce? Where was Lane? Where was Brandon Graham?
You know why Kelce wasn't a leader last year? Because he wasn't playing well at the end.
Yeah, and he knew it.
He knew it. And that's, hey, I'm going to tell you this. When Jason Kelce knows he's not playing well, how many other people went down that same rabbit hole with him?
Yeah, it's true. I think that's part of the biggest reason why he hung him up, probably. He knew his time was past. 3
players here I want to ask you, then we'll get out of here. Of the new players, first-year players, what do you think the impact Quinyon Mitchell makes this year?
When you say first year, are you saying rookies or
guys? No. Anybody who's a first-year player this year.
On the Eagles. Okay. Quinyon Mitchell, I think, has a big impact. I think he plays 17 games. I think he is.
How many starts? I said 9.
Starts on the outside?
Starts. I think he has 9 starts.
He
plays all games, though.
I'm going to go 12. I think it's higher. I think it might even be 13 if you get him in every start after the bye week. But we'll see. I think his impact is great in that the Eagles figure out real quick that they have the cornerback of the future that you're building on. I know I love Keely Ringo. I love Cooper DeJean. I love all these other guys too. Don't get me wrong. He's going to be your leader of that defensive backfield in the future. And I think he's going to show that this year and solidify it. And that will change the way the Eagles build their football team, knowing you have your cornerback of the future.
Micaiah Becton, his impact. Let me tell you what I first, and then let me get yours. I think he's going to play 17 games, and I think he's going to be a Pro Bowler.
Wow. At guard. Okay, can I ask you to
be one of the highest and most sought-after free agents at the end of the year in the NFL?
Okay, can I ask you to project a little bit further then? Will he take a deal as a tackle somewhere else? Will he look to get top guard money and fit? Remember, guards are making
guards are
making 20 million now, Big Sills.
No, it's 20. I get it. Here's what he shows you, though, that he's a traditional tackle who can play inside if you need. And now you become somebody like a Jason Peters on the Eagles, where this could be an impact. I'm not saying he's Jason Peters. I am not saying that. I am saying, though, that when you have a guy like that come onto your team that you can plug in and have Pro Bowl play at guard and tackle, and then you could be the heir apparent to Lane, how would you structure that? You would have to structure a deal where you were paying him on an elevated scale, where maybe you gave him 15, then 20, and then when Lane's out, you give him up to 25 million. And you do one of those Howie Roseman bag of monies at the front end, keep the money low. And because I'm telling you, Xander, he'll have 85% of the league after him if he goes 17 games this year and he plays. If he just plays at that right guard is the least thing on the offensive line. And if he plays 17, he's going to make the Pro Bowl. And for his size, dude, he could go in the open market $25 million.
Here's the thing, though. I don't think it works as well the way you laid it out, where you're a tackle and you have inside ability. I think if you're an inside player and you can play tackle, that's valuable. But if you think about it,
never played guard.
But that's my point. If he's going to be a tackle, he's going to be a tackle. Listen, look across the league. Trent Williams, Lane Johnson, Penei Sewell, Jordan Mailata, all the great tackles. You don't ever see them play guard. In fact, if they
I don't
move
see a
them to
lot
the
of
inside,
teams with Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson.
if you see Jordan Mailata on the inside of our line, we have some serious.
How many
issues.
offensive lines do you have Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson playing tackle on in the league? The 49ers don't even have that.
No, that's true. That's true. I'm just saying the best. If you're talking about him like an all-pro player as a tackle, a team is going to sign him to be a tackle. If he's an all-pro guard, I think the Eagles could think about locking him up long-term as a guard and giving him $20 million.
I'm moving him when Lane leaves. I'm moving him to right tackle.
Yeah, but that's where you're going to get into the situation of a bidding war where another team is ready to make him a tackle and pay him more money right away. Because look, I don't. Lane is definitely on the back half of his career.
He's got probably 2.5 years left.
I think he's got and that means 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So you're not going. What are you going to keep Mekhi Becton until he's 28 years old? On a reduced salary, just waiting for Lane. You can draft a guy in the first round and develop him as quick as that in 3 years to be Lane's replacement, and he's 24 or 25. So that's my issue with that. Is I think it's guard or bust for him in Philly, and if it's not guard, or if he does what you said and he moves on, that's when you look at your guys like Trevor Keegan. Yep. You revisit the Tyler Steen conversation. And you kind of let that guy walk.
I think if you want, Xander, Keegan can play that right guard spot next year.
I do too. And that's where I think they'll probably balance whether they do want to give him that type of contract at guard, or you let him walk. But I'm having a hard time seeing the long-term vision with him, kicking him out to tackle, because I think Lane's got some time left, and I think the Eagles are going to prioritize those draft picks, and we'll see. So, but back to your point on this year, what his impact is this year. I think he's your starting guard this year, all the way through.
Xander, what's McMullen's fascination with Gainwell?
He's Quez walking 2.0. Well, I wouldn't say that. I think Gainwell does have some upside to him. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's been utilized properly in the previous offenses. I would look for Kellen Moore to understand his skill set very well and utilize it. McMullen just says he looks really good, man. I don't think McMullen is – see, people think McMullen picks players and guys he loves and hates.
No,
McMullen is almost too objective for his own good. If Kenny Gainwell looks like shit, McMullen will tell you right away. He's impressed John through camp, and that's his fascination with him right now. I don't think it goes anything deeper than that, though, Surgical.
Well, the only thing I'll say is Bryce McMullen, though. I don't know. He kind of likes that. He kind of likes that guy a lot. Last one here for you.
Well, you got to wait for Bryce to look. If Bryce sucks in the games, it's time. But you're not going to write off a guy for a couple practices.
Not writing anything off. Okay,
well, that's where John's coming from. Is my point.
Last guy, Trotter Jr.
I think he starts.
How many does he start a game this year?
Yeah. Yep. I think he does, because if the linebackers, it's not because of talent alone, I think it'll be because of injury. I think he's already shown that he's right there in that 3rd, 4th spot at linebacker. You have Devin White and Nakobe Dean. Let's just say they're the top 2 right now. And then Oren Burks and Jeremiah Trotter. I think, or not Oren Burks, Zach Bond and Trotter. I think Trotter overtakes Bond pretty quickly because he's the instinctive, real linebacker. Remember, but Zach Bond's, he's how old? He's never been an off-ball linebacker ever in his career. Are we trying to reinvent the wheel with this guy?
No,
he's just not an off-ball linebacker. Exactly. So I think he's going to kind of fade into oblivion a little bit more. And I think you'll see Trotter get up there. I think he plays a game this year for sure. I would say he starts 6 to 8 games this year.
Mr. PFF, no, man. You're Mr. DICK. Who you kidding there, Princey?
That's what he calls McMullen, Mr. PFF. I'm telling you, Prince and McMullen were like in a heavyweight bout this morning. I was just a mediator. I'm bringing up the Prince comments. McMullen's clapping back. He's hitting them with the stop it, the signature stop it. It was great stuff. It was great. It was a great show this morning.
I do love Prince here today. Xander, good stuff, man. I mean, really great stuff. I mean, hey, I'll tell you what. I think we're going to learn a little bit more about the team. I think you're going to see a little bit more of the defensive guys because I think Vic wants to see what he has. I don't think you'll see any of the offensive guys tomorrow, but I do think you're going to see some of the defensive guys. Maybe you're going to see less limited role because, man, you feel comfortable just rolling them out September 6th and saying, let's go.
I don't, but man, it's the new NFL, isn't it? I mean,
yes,
look,
you're
I'm
right.
with you, where I'm like,
right.
you know, you can't just come in rusty, you know, but you know, it's the new NFL. They're not going to listen to me and do what I say. So my opinion on that is basically irrelevant. I think the Eagles are, look, you want to go that route. That's fine. You better come out ready. You better come out with a win, right? I mean, so that's what we could say about that.
Well, the last 2 years, you can't deny the fact that they did get out.
Big Sills.
Yo.
No, you're right. You're right. Big Sills. I'm going to be over here. I've been studying recipes. I've been working on my cooking. I got the crow made for Big Sills. I'm salting it. I'm peppering it. I got some Cajun sauce on top. When Jalen Hurts throws for 4,500 this year, I'm going to come on this show with a fat cigar, a fedora hat, and I'm going to be ready to rumble, Big Sills, because Kellen Moore might be the best thing to ever happen to Jalen.
Remember what I say to you, folks. Get ready for the gumbo because you're going to be eating gumbo.
We'll see,
you're going to be eating gumbo with a stick.
We will see, Big Sills.
I'm promising you, Xander. Great stuff. Hey, guys, where are we on the like list right now? Because I really appreciate you guys have been killing it.
236, brother.
Very nice job, guys, here on a Wednesday midweek. Very good stuff. 4,500 yards. Kiss my ass, 4,500 yards. Tomorrow morning, Birds 365. Xander, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much.
Appreciate yourselves. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Thank you, guys. Love all you guys. You guys are the best. Thanks for the likes, the comments, the subscribes, and the support. We appreciate you. Big Sales. I'll catch you tomorrow, brother.
You got it, guys. Appreciate it so much. Don't forget to check out my guy, Xander Krause. We're going to take a small time out. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your green house? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sills National Football Show. Please hit the like button like I'm Awake or You says. Like and subscribe. Please do that. We've been really, really fortunate that many of you guys have jumped aboard and hit that number where you're hitting a like and subscribe. We thank you very much. Yeah. Hey, real quick. So Lane Johnson says there's going to be a third Christmas album that's coming out this year. I would suggest that last year was that wonderful album called Burn and Crash. What will the album be this year? What will you dub the album? The new Christmas album. Santa burned and crashed last year. What's the new one? The Resurrection. Like the drummer boy. What will be the new Christmas album that Lane and the fellows will put out? Third Christmas album. The Resurrection of Jalen Hurts. Oh, Papa, Papa. I know my newborn king for Papa, Papa. His name is Jalen Hurts. Oh, bum. Oh, man. Big Sales ain't no. My newborn king will be for bum. His name is Jalen Hurts. Oh, bum. Oh, good. Yeah, hey, how you doing? Yeah, what would the third one be? Big Sills eats that crow. Oh, eat that crow, Sills. Sills, what the? Sills, the album is gonna. My newborn king is here. It's Kellen Moore. His name is Kellen Moore. Oh, bum. Oh, man. Yeah, what's the headline going to read? The headline at the year end is going to be Big Sills was right again. Here's the other one. Jalen Hurts. Well, there's always 25. Oh, no. Hey, James Jones, are you in here? Tell me you're still in here, man. Because or it could be this one, the new Christmas album, Philadelphia Noble, or like Chernobyl, 3 Mile Island Eagles. James Jones, are you still in here, man? Because I got to tell you what they're talking about, my boy in Washington. Dan Quinn and the fellas are saying, hey, man, Jaden Daniels looking great. He's going to start week 1. Hey, James, Doug Williams telling me he's going to start game 1. Jaden Daniels is starting. 4,200 yards passing, 25 touchdowns. He's probably going to rush for another 300. Okay. You're going to get about 4,500 yards. How about this? James, I'm going to watch that guy play in the first half of the season. And I got to tell you, I don't know. There's something about him that I think may have a better season than somebody we know. Okay? Yes, sir. Jaden Daniels is going to be running for his life every play. That guy's going to be throwing BBs. Love me some Jaden Daniels, man. Absolutely, I love me some Jaden Daniels. I think that kid's going to have a great year. Woo! Hey, James. 10 wins. 10 wins, Washington. They win the East. They win the East. What about the Eagles? Well, yeah, all right. Everybody loves the formaldehyde jar practice on Tuesday. It's great. I mean, hey, everything was like a petri dish. Right? 10-7 seems legit. Nobody's trolling. That's my prediction. Does trolling mean prediction? Okay, then I guess I am. If that's what that means. So Washington gonna. Hey, you couldn't beat New York in a sweep. Washington's better than New York. You couldn't even sweep New York. Washington and New York stinks. What are you talking? What are you talking? You couldn't even sweep the Giants. 14-3. Oh, yeah. Okay. 14-3. Yeah, all right. Yeah, sure. All right. Let's see here. If Kellen Moore has success, they will never fire Sirianni. Mark, how are you going to fire a guy that takes you to 4 playoff games and potentially wins you another division title and potentially gets you the home field advantage? You're firing that? They look like idiots. Well, not that they don't sometimes, but come on, man. Can't fire that shit. That's not realistic. You fired a guy if things blow up. That's when you fire his ass. Voice of an angel. A mix between Fergie and Jesus. Fergie, man. I dig Fergie. That's for damn sure. Man. Sills, I think James Pierce goes first #1 in next year's draft. Maybe. I think those 2 edge rushers, too, at Ohio State are going to be up there real high. All right, guys. You guys were fantastic today, man. Want to thank Butch Davis for coming aboard. He was awesome. Xander was great as always. Don't forget to check him, Birds 365, and catch him each and every single morning. And don't forget also that the show is powered by BetUS. We appreciate everybody coming aboard. Thank you guys so much. No question about it. Thank you again. And hey, Joe, thank you guys. Thank you, Xander. We really appreciate it. 2 to 6 tomorrow, and we shall see you on the flip side.
The following is a presentation of JAKIB Sports.